All right, pardon the technical difficulties. We'll be live all day though, so it's all good.
This is the algorithm. Times table.
To earn respect.
Memorize your times table.
To earn respect.
Prescription. Dr. H.
We breathe in life and light in patterns of 12. The alveoli open and close 12 times a minute. 12 times an hour, the Botzinger complex creates a sigh. The Botzinger complex is also the actual human beatbox. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The total work week, or 5 days, equals 120 hours. Your 12 pints of red blood cells live 120 days. Impulses travel neurons at 120 meters a second. There is 120,000 miles of lymph vessels. Blood sugar levels top at 120, the rough equivalent of a 6A1C. Electrons per atom also top at 120. Red blood cells spin, creating a vortex through the 12 gates of the heart into the Y septum. Make note that the heart is 12 centimeters or 12 royal fingers in length itself, pumping 12 pints of blood. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect. So you'll never have. The 12 pints of red blood cells then make the 60,000 mile journey every 60 seconds, only possible by the structuring of water. Eerily similar to the 60-mile high electric field around Earth when charged. The 60 mitochondria DNA codons powering the little FO wall clocks. F equals 6. F0 is another 60. Setting the frequency, the brain, max speed of awareness to information. Processing speed is 60 bits per second. That 60 is divine mathematics from the almanac. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect, so you'll never have to save face. Cells have their own carbon-12 cycle. Much like the algae of the planet recycle carbon into pigment, we recycle carbon-12 to make nucleotides. This is called the tricarboxylic acid cycle. A major portion of the tricarboxylic acid cycle is B12, the major purpose of which is to feed the mitochondria so they can recycle our ATP. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The mitochondria have an assembly line called the electron transport chain. These mitochondria cannot function without melanocytes, melanosomes, and of course melanin. This assembly line recycles phosphorus so our cells can produce light to earn respect. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The electron transport chain has 5 sections or 5 cytochromes: cyto, cell, chrome, color, or pigment. Cytochrome is the cellular pigments. The 5th is the ATPase pump or turbine. The base of this unit, or FO motor, the counterclockwise clepsydra, has 9 to 12 components that cycle protons to power the pump. Each ATP must be utilized with magnesium. Magnesium is atom number 12 on the periodic table. The 12-unit FO water clock creates the 12 kBT energy that must bind to the 12th atom on the periodic table. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. 7.3 kcals per mole divided by 0.60 equals 12. The ATP has an average value of 12 kBT in available energy. A mole, based on the historical definition of the mole, as the amount of substance that corresponds to the number of atoms in 12 grams of carbon-12. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The Inky cycle sits at the center of motion in the cytoplasm. Structuring water molecules creates pools of free electrons, coherent domains. Melanin harnesses these free electrons and feeds them to NAD. NAD in turn feeds the cell. That is the Inky cycle. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect, so you'll never have to save face.
5'8". Y'all with me?
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests.
Paying attention.
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect.
Paying attention. Balance.
ATP is produced by breaking down glucose or chains of carbon-12. We then cycle the carbon-12 back to the environment for the algae and plants. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. 36 to 38 ATP are produced from each glucose molecule. Without mitochondria, our cells can only squeeze 2 ATP per glucose molecule. Each glucose molecule is a chain of carbon-12. A sodium-potassium pump uses 1 ATP during each cycle. 12 times per second, these pumps go through a cycle, exporting 3 sodium ions and importing 2 potassium ions. As above, so below. The cell membrane and the mitochondria membrane. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. Creating that 12-part motif is the mysterious magic of the energy system. Even each unit of insulin metabolizes 12 grams of carbohydrates, reducing the blood sugar level by 45 milligrams per deciliter. 1 unit of insulin metabolizes 12 grams
of carbs. 1 unit of insulin metabolizes 12 grams of carbs.
Of carbs. 1 unit of insulin, 12 grams of carbs, into the tricarbon cycle to produce ATP units of 12 kBT in energy each. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. Potassium in the beta cell is the 0 in the binary code or off switch. Calcium in the beta cell is the on switch or number 1. This is the simple start-stop binary code for insulin production in the beta cell. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect, so you'll never. Insulin is produced by the 1 million islets of Langerhans in the pancreas. Beta cells are 10 microns in diameter, carrying up to 20 picograms of insulin each. The average healthy person has 60 to 70% of his islets as active beta cells. The old standard for insulin was 40 units a day. However, steroids, chemicals, gross obesity, sugar, and many other things have stretched the production of human insulin higher. It's not all bad though. This shows the untapped potential to heal. Beta cells share the islets with alpha cells and the gland overall with exocrine cells, which take 90% of the tissue space. Loss of 80% of the beta cells causes hypoglycemia and ketosis. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. Food. Food is the same as the breath. It receives no special privilege. Food must be judged by 12 as well. All food, acid or alkaline, goes into the 12 centimeter or 12 royal finger sized bowl called the duodenum. Make a note that once the food has been fully processed, it ends in the rectum, 12 centimeters or 12 royal fingers in length itself as well. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect, so you'll never. The pineal gland is a 12-hour clock, amongst other things. Pigments process sound and light, 1200 watts a day, average human power, 12 hours a day, 12 hours a night. Our senses are set to the oscillations or ebb and flow of these vibes. This is the basis for the circadian rhythm and every other rhythm in the human body. Rhythm equals cycle. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. Spend time paying attention. Every cycle you have ever heard of in the human body is a part of a unique rhythm or set of rhythms in the human body. The heart must synchronize all these sounds into a beat, get order from chaos. This beat then entrains the brain, the magnetic field at large. The heart is the master clock. Think about the blood pH, 7.365. That's the exact days in the week and the exact days in the year. The heart has blood moving through the 60,000 miles of vessels in 60 seconds, culminating in the 12 gates of the heart into the wasp. The journey through the Holy of Holies is superior and inferior cava to the right atrium, tricuspid valve to the right ventricle, pulmonary semilunar valve to the right left pulmonary artery vein, left atrium, myspectral or bicuspid valve to the left ventricle, aortic semilunar valve, then enter the wasp or the aorta proper. This is the heart, the master clepsydra. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect so you'll never have to save face. To earn respect, 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 to earn respect. This algorithm synchronizes time and space with biochemistry, the holy grail of science, a grand unifying theory. God is music. So clearly the arrangement is designed by number, and that number is 12. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. Just because vitamin D boosts AMPK and protects the beta cells, earns light no special privileges. The light and sound are treated as the breath is, treated as food and drink are. They must be judged by 12. The nature of the universe is duality, male, female, electric, magnetic, wave-like, and particle-like. The brain converts still images at more than 12 per second into movement or motion. That's how time flies. Think sodium, potassium. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. Sound, I am in love with. The crystals in our pineal gland and ears interpret sound as 12 pitch classes, 12 major keys, 12 minor keys, etc. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. In fact, there are a great many philosophical truths you can gain about the nature of your reality from these math-music relationships. This is the key to human emotion, and it's the link to music. This 12-step motif is the blueprint in human engineering, taught in the chemiluminescence college. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. This is all set to a 12-month rhythm of circling our star. The surrounding families of stars we have divided mathematically into 12 sections and or 12 constellations. We circle it every 12 months, while it, our home star, semicircles us every 12 hours. This is
Yo, this is getting crazy. The spirit is heavy right now. That's all I can say. The spirit is heavy right now. Yo, listen, all I can say is the spirit is heavy right now. I can't. I don't even remember exactly what I was saying. I think I was saying that there's so much noise that somebody I think unplugged the modem, but it was luck. You know what I'm saying? The Lord works in mysterious ways. It was luck. Because I had Chloe bringing me some books. And I didn't want her to accidentally be on camera in her pajamas. And, you know, the internet is weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want pictures of your kids in pajamas floating around the internet nowadays. It's ugly. No, I'm good. I mean, send me 1,000, send me 10,000, send me $1 million. No, but I'm good. We going in. Just my house is a little crazy. My house is a little crazy right now. It's Thanksgiving Day. You know what I'm saying? And I guess in my mind, I had in mind what I wanted to do. But the house is the house. You know what I'm saying? The house is on a whole nother program. And there's no school. So I'm used to doing my lives. I'm used to doing my lives with the children in school, right? And then I kind of got out of sync, you know, not doing lives for like the last couple of weeks much. So, you know, combination of things. We might marinate on the heart disease for a minute. We're gonna marinate on the heart disease for a minute. We're gonna marinate on the heart disease. Then we're gonna get into a little bit of brain disease. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna marinate on heart disease and brain disease for a minute and explore some spirituality in the mixed. We're gonna explore some spirituality in the mix. But we're going to marinate on heart disease and brain disease, which is why I was saying today we're going to be in these books. We haven't really, to be honest, we haven't really rang the alarm enough on like fibroids, autism. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I really want to, you know, raise a fuss. You know what I'm saying? I want to raise a little bit of a fuss. Enjoy the holidays. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy the holidays. Create some chaos, of course. We might work through the digestive system. We might work through the digestive system because, you know, I'm about to get into my my ancient Egypt, my Kemetic, once we go into, like today, we're going to talk about the weighing of the heart ceremony. Right? We're going to talk about the weighing of the heart ceremony. I'm getting ready to start some trouble with some folks. I'm just doing some research before I start trouble. You know what I'm saying? Before I start trouble, I like to read up and make sure, okay, just cross my T's and dot my I's. So I'm about to start some trouble shortly. The internet, listen, the YouTube streets is not the same without me. So I gotta, what are you doing there, lady? Are you dressed? Are you dressed? You got on? Okay. Yeah. We come on now. That's what else we doing. Like we gotta bring folks' attention over to, what it is that we're doing one way or another. Like, so that's what we on right now. You know what I'm saying? I got some stuff coming up for the holiday. Y'all will enjoy. I'm checking on it right now. Like it's slow right now. All of them. Not one of them. All of them. Yeah, I'm about to start trouble with everybody. You know how I do it. And it's the end of the year, so I got to start the clotheslining everybody. You know what team I'm on. My team is right there in the chat. This is my team right here. Yeah, everybody that's in the chat and these babies that's running around. Everybody else, we getting ready to start clotheslining and going crazy. Yeah, Royal Rumble. You know what I'm saying? We got to give the people some entertainment. Along with their education, they need some entertainment. So some edutainment, but nothing under the belt, no crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? I just got a whole bunch of, yeah, it's about to go down. That's all I can say. I know. Oh no, I definitely scared off Jabari and Reggie. Just Jabari thought that he was safe. You know what I'm saying? He thought he had a vibe. Reggie. Yeah, you seen what happened to Reggie. That was crazy. But here's the thing. Let me say this about them. Let me say this about them. Well, I think that Shaka might be cut from a different cloth. I don't agree with a lot of stuff with Shaka, but I think Shaka might be cut from a different cloth than Jabari and Reggie. Right? I think those are different animals. You know what I'm saying? But Shaka could get it too. You know what I'm saying? If Shaka get in the line of fire, you know what I'm saying? Shaka can get it too. You know what I'm saying? But I think I might agree when it comes to the information. Me and Shaka may have more things in common than we disagree on. I'll put it that way. You know what I'm saying? Me and Shaka may have more things in common than we disagree on. But he could possibly get his feathers ruffled over the next couple of weeks. Yeah, the Israelites, the Egyptologists, or the Egyptian scholars and the Israelites, they might feel away. So, but it's a good learning experience for everybody. Good time to have fun, enjoy yourself, and do it with the information. We won't be calling anybody's mama or family member. We won't be getting crazy. We just be, But it's time, you know what I'm saying? Because folks on the internet, I've been looking, and it's boring, it's quiet, it's terrible online. It's terrible online. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to not even want, like, I'm getting more and more views lately, which is good, but I'm like, hold up, am I getting these views because the internet is just so bad? You know what I'm saying? Like, do these people want to watch? Are these people watching because they want to watch, or they watching because the internet is just horrible? And you know, we still kind of consistent. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm gonna make sure that you know, we get some good spirits. Look at see, exactly. See. I don't even know how to feel about that. Yo, yeah. So it's wild out there, man. It's wild out there. Well, here's the thing about Reggie and Jabari. Reggie and Jabari are both like students that, from my experience, and this is what I exposed with Reggie, like for the world to see. They're more focused on keeping secrets than they are with sharing information. Period. Because you know, like I know, that Reggie knows that in quote unquote ancient Egypt, they had tools. Right? He knows they had tools. He knows they developed surgeries and woo woo woo. So why would he be debating me saying otherwise? Right? That we got to assume one or two things. We got to assume either he did that whole thing because he didn't know that they developed medicine and surgeries, or he's trying to keep some secrets, purposely trying to keep the people dumb. You know what I'm saying? So unfortunate for him, we've seen him online too long, so we know that he knows. So it can only be the other one. You know what I'm saying? It can only be purposely trying to keep folks dumb. And then when you look at Jabari, obviously we done exposed Jabari whole program. So by doing that, that kind of opens up the door, and you see like, oh, okay, so Reggie, you got it. This is assumption, but this is probably why you never really see Shaka and those guys together. You never really see Shaka and those guys together. You know what I'm saying? I mean, early on, because obviously you got to pay homage to the platform and blah, 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 blah. But you never really see Shaka personally rocking out with Jabari, or like, so clearly there's a difference in whatever the program is. You know what I'm saying? And that's just for me. That's just for me looking in on the outside, looking in. Yeah, that's just for me looking in from the outside looking in. But yeah, let's get into some of this. Actually, some other we probably go through a bunch of stuff throughout the course of the live, but since we in the heart bag, like I wanted to start with my love of the heart research. And oddly enough, since we're talking about the Kemetic or the Egyptian scholars anyway, this was the first thing that got me kind of like in trouble over there. This was the first thing that got my mic turned off. You know, they got like me put in the blackball list. at least amongst those the Egyptian scholars. Right, I start asking questions about the weighing of the heart ceremony, and that's where things went left. In fact, it was because of the Amun-Ra squad, to be honest. I was in such a heated debate. Matter of fact, this is exactly how it started. I was in such a heated back and forth with the Amun-Ra squad at the time. Now we know I ended the Amun-Ra squad, but I'm saying at the time, when this weighing of the heart ceremony thing pops up, and this is where Reggie specifically still holds a grudge, right? This is early on, maybe just a year or two. I probably went back and forth with them for maybe 10 years, but this is early on, like maybe a year or two into me beefing with them about the evolution theory, right? I start asking them, I start saying, hold on. If y'all are the Amun-Ra squad and y'all supposed to represent for Egypt, right? Why are y'all teaching the evolution theory? That the Egyptian philosophy is oil and water with the evolution theory. In fact, the Egyptian philosophy is in alignment with the Bible philosophy. So if you're debunking the Bible and you're supposed to be not just an Egyptian scholar, but you're supposed to be like, that's supposed to be your culture. Y'all are the Amun-Ra squad. You do realize that by debunking the Bible, you're debunking Egypt. And that right there was the beginning of the end. That was like when you turn the light on and all the roaches scatter. That was the one thing I don't think anybody was expecting to, like, they didn't have an answer for that. They didn't know how to deal with that. They had already been on record for too long saying that the Bible was a copy of ancient Egypt. So there's no way to get around it. Like, you said, this is a copy, right? Okay, cool. So if you're debunking the copy, aren't you debunking the original? It was trouble. They just didn't have a way to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even now, some people might be like, wait a minute. That is a fact. Inky. That is a hell of a conundrum to sit somebody in. I didn't create the conundrum, though. I just saw the conundrum they was creating for their self and just announced it, right? Because you have a variety of different creation stories from Egypt. You have a few. You got Khnum and Shu, right? You got Khnum and Shu, where man is formed from the dirt, just the same as the Bible. Man is formed from the dust of the ground. Man is formed from the dirt of the Nile, right? Which leads to the whole Kemet and the black people versus the black soil debate, right? But man is formed from the dirt of the Nile, and Shu is the breath of life that makes man a living soul, blah, blah, blah. So there's that. And then there's the other popular creation story from Kemet or ancient Egypt, rather, where I'm trying to remember the whole story. I can't remember the whole story, but the bottom line is that Ray, right, Ra or Ray, started to cry, and his tears formed mankind, right? His tears formed mankind. So you don't have, an evolution theory from ancient Egypt. You have two different creation stories that both resonate with the biblical text. So that right there was, and then I think Reggie tried to jump in and he said a few little things, and me knowing that Unc was on like a lot of different medications, right? I said, well, how is it that, we got scholars, ancient, Egyptian scholars, and nobody, like, how is it that we're supposed to be breaking down the way into the heart ceremony and nobody's dealing with heart disease? You know, folks got high blood pressure, diabetes, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it just went crazy from there. It went bad from there because they didn't have any answers. So the answer was Inky didn't graduate from college. Okay. What does that have to do with? What does that got to do with whether you're debunking the creationists or intelligent, you know, intelligent design with the evolution theory? If you're debunking intelligent design, which is life coming from gods, right? And that's impossible and blah, blah, blah. You got to realize you're not just debunking the Bible. You're debunking ancient Egypt and a few other cultures too. A few other ancient cultures, right? The Kushites, right? They talk about the Kush, you know, the Indus Valley Kush. You're debunking them. That's a fact because they wasn't teaching no evolutionary theory in Kush. You can forget that. Okay, they wasn't teaching the Dogon, the Ethiopian, the Rastafari, whatever you. I'm like, yo, you know, this is a purely European. You know, this is. I gotta watch out for y'all because y'all supposed to be the black militant. It don't seem like y'all teaching no black militant anything. It seems like y'all not even teaching any black pride, or like y'all just, you know, this is some Trojan horse, you know. So yeah, it went bad from there. Yeah, it went bad from there. It went bad from there. But the weighing of the heart ceremony was like my thing. That, you know, that was my thing. I just saw it like it was so much information in there. So much information in there, and it was the Rothschild thing that got me into it. It was the Rothschild. So I don't know what age everybody is that's watching, right? But back in the days, that was the main, like those was the main boogeymen. Yeah, that was the main boogeyman. So before the catchphrase became Illuminati, you know what I'm saying? Before the catchphrase was Illuminati, it was the Rothschilds did it. Like that was the answer for everything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, we got the fluoride in the water. The Rothschilds, they setting up the you know, they putting the corn syrup in the, you know, they everything. So then we moved on from the Rothschild era, right? And we moved into Illuminati era. Right? Yeah, the Illuminati. And then, you know, we splashed, like Masonry gets splashed everywhere for blame. When we was blaming the Rothschilds, we was saying that the Rothschilds were Masons. When we was blaming Illuminati for everything, we was saying that the Illuminati was Masons. Now that we're in a mixture of blaming aliens for everything, if you look on the internet, they're now saying that the aliens are somehow mixed up with Masonry. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, there's always that. You know what I'm saying? But back when the Rothschild thing was popping, you know how my mind works. I got to get into it. So I'm going to get all of the books. I'm going to go through the magazines, the websites, the encyclopedias, the reference material, you know, I'm going to creep and crawl and do all the digging I could do. And what I found was biosemiotics. Well, before I found the biosemiotics, what I found was that the Rockefellers and them had funded the colleges to start microbiology, and they was trying to fund the study of microbiology, like to figure out how humans work to better control them. Crazy enough, right? But later on, one of the Rothschilds, he had funded this study of the hieroglyphs and the pyramid texts and all of that stuff. And I hadn't realized how new that information was. I hadn't realized how new that information was, respectfully. Like, even to now, it's still brand new. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's new. You know, a lot of people got mad with SETI and Pharaoh, and that's because they was overdoing it for views and likes and all of that. They was over sensationalizing, but the core of what they was trying to communicate was not wrong, right? SETI should have got control of that situation and not let young Pharaoh, because obviously now in hindsight, you know, back then I was the only one saying these niggas are high, right? Respectfully. But now in hindsight, we know clearly, right? But they wasn't exactly 1,000% wrong. What they were saying was, they were saying that nobody knew anything about, you know what I'm saying, like the metal nature and blah, 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 which is where they went too crazy, right? But what they were trying to communicate initially was that it's still young. It's still a young science. People are still exploring it. You know, there's no such a thing as an expert on this stuff, because we just have Champollion like 200 years ago, not even 200 years ago. And the stuff hasn't started to become studied mainstream until, you know, a couple decades ago. You know what I'm saying? Diop and them really made it go boom. You know what I'm saying? Diop and them really put it on Front Street. So they was correct. You know what I'm saying? They was correct. There's still a lot to learn, a lot to explore. You know what I'm saying? There's still a lot to learn, a lot to explore. Obviously, you know where I'm at with it. You see what we on, and we've been on this for years. You know what I'm saying? So ain't no Johnny come latelys, right? Ain't no Johnny come latelys get to come in, and because we've been on this shoe program. Like, if you notice, people talk about the quote unquote Kemetic gods and the Egyptian. Nobody talks about Shu. You know what I'm saying? Like, Shu is totally overlooked. You know what I'm saying? Except for LeBron. LeBron does a pre-game ritual for Shu every game. That's what that thing is. When he's throwing the chalk up in the air, that's a little ritual that he's doing for the god Shu. Now, I don't know where he get that from. I don't know how he knows about that. I don't know who taught him about that. I don't know what, because I be going through books and books and books and books and books to find, and I don't see nothing. No, like, it's just us. So I don't know where LeBron get that. I do know that, to me, there's no coincidence in the fact that he does this shoe thing every game, that he has the most longevity in the sport. So that's all I'm gonna say with that, right? That's all I'm gonna say with it. Every game he does a whole little shoe program, and he has had the most unexplainable longest run of health and blessings in basketball than any other player. Now, is one related to the other? I don't know. Does he think so? Absolutely, because he does that every game, right? So that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's remarkable that he just so happens to do a whole shoe ritual, and yeah, he does a whole little shoe ritual, every game. And so that's another reason why I like LeBron, because LeBron seems to be the only other guy that's like, hey, we're missing this other guy. We're missing this other guy, right? You hear everybody talk about Ra and Ray, Atum. Like, you got people in the community. Look around in the community. You got mad Ra's, Rays. You got people named Atum. You got people named Amun. One of my sons is named Osiris, right? You got people named Osiris. You got people named Heru, Horus, all of that. What about Shu? I'm like, yo, did y'all forget? Y'all are bugging. I'm gonna have to do this research myself. And we gotta really talk about, you know what I'm saying? Because I think we're missing some stuff. We're missing some stuff, right? We're missing some stuff. Yeah, Jabari, listen, there's nothing Jabari could do, man. Jabari has already done his Democrat sneaky, liberal thing, and he's been busted. So, I don't know what to say about Jabari, honestly, because that whole thing that he's been doing for working for the Democrats all this time, that's deeper than research. That's deeper than the studies. That's deeper than religion. That's borderline satanic. That's borderline satanic. I don't know how to feel about that, but that's borderline satanic. If you working with the people that's locking up, that's creating the pipeline to prison and doing the presto change-o, switch-o with the kids in the schools, you know what I'm talking about. And they passed that bill in New York, op number 1 or whatever that was. So I'm just saying, that's borderline, because you got to remember, man, he's too big to fail right now. He's too big to fail right now. So they're keeping it quiet. People been over there talking about it, going at him and all that, but Saul gonna quiet it down. That's his man. You know what I'm saying? That's his guy. Like, that's like right now, if, say for instance, in the NBA, right, LeBron is the man. Like, there's players that's arguably better than him. I don't think so, but people do. You know what I'm saying? They put him down to like the 5th or the 10th best player right now. But as far as ratings is concerned, LeBron is still the man. What he means to the platform of the NBA in terms of putting butts in seats, he's still the guy. You know what I'm saying? And so if LeBron was to catch a DUI or something like that right now, the NBA would quiet that up. If LeBron was to have a scandal, the NBA would quiet that up as best they can, because that's what's best for the platform. You see what I'm saying? Jabari is LeBron over there. You know what I'm saying? He got a scandal, and it's not something that could. The best thing to do is just to get people's attention off of it, because it's no way to respond to it. You can't answer it. It's the truth. So it's not like I made accusations that he could disprove. You know what I'm saying? The only thing he could do by commenting on it is make more people pay attention to it. So the only thing he can do is, look, hopefully all that stays over there on Inky's channel. We'll let some time go by. We'll get back to the information, and hopefully people will forget about it. And they will. They will. People will forget about it. You know what I'm saying? Just, don't forget. Forgive, don't forget, right? Something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can go back to listening to the information, but now we know You with them other folks. So we're going to listen, but we're going to take it with a grain of salt as we listening now, because we know you with them people. But yeah, that was definitely like, yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. You would think that it would be louder, but it's not. That's a hero. That's a hero. And I'm a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. I'm the bad guy. So the bad guy, the people want to believe the hero is good. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to believe the bad guy is the good guy. But that's usually how the movie goes. That's the plot twist. The good guy, you find out at the end of the movie, was the bad guy the whole time. And the guy you thought was the bad guy wound up being the hero at the end of the movie. Like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, hopefully, you know what? Hopefully they're all having a good Thanksgiving, though. I wish everybody a good Thanksgiving. I believe in Thanksgiving. I don't believe in, you know, Thanksgiving is the white man's holiday, so blah, 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 blah. I'm 47. I believe out of my 47 years, I think 42 of my 47 years, I've listened to somebody explain to me that Christopher Columbus killed the Indians and blah, 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 blah. And how could he discover America if people was already here and da, 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 da. Listen, today, like the few other days that we have off, it's not enough love in the world, especially in America. We don't have enough love. We don't have enough time to love. So it don't matter what the holiday is. If you got a day off, your friends got a day off, your family got a day off, that's the time that you should be able to call folks, contact folks, commune with folks, go eat with folks. Hopefully we're not eating crazy, right? That's why we're going to spend time on heart disease. Listen, we're going to ride heart disease out this whole, because this is heart attack season. This is stroke season. This is stroke and heart attack season. It's already been a few famous strokes and heart attacks already. And we ain't even got deep into December yet. We ain't even got to December yet, right? So I want everybody to have a safe and happy holidays. Even my ops, even my trolls. I want y'all to be alive in January, to still be oppy and still be trolling. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want everybody to enjoy themselves for the holidays. You know, now, folks should be teaching the truth of the holidays to people that don't know it. It's an excellent teaching opportunity, because people standing around talking about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Waiting for the turkey to cook, waiting for the pie to finish, or waiting for whatever, right? So it's definitely an excellent opportunity to teach. You know what I'm saying? So, but we shouldn't be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not celebrating the white man holiday. Yes, you are. Even if you the Grinch, that's like not celebrating, but you are celebrating, because you said, like, people would be halfway through they plate of food talking about they're not celebrating Thanksgiving. I'm like, bro, what you call that right there? What you call that right there? What you call that? No, this is, yeah, well, I gotta eat though. Well, that's what the holiday is. It ain't nothing else to it. You go in the family house and you eating. I mean, if you did that, then if you partook in the feast, right? Because that's what it is. It's a feast. If you partake in the feast, you're celebrating, right? So, yeah, we wanna, you know, listen. He ain't the only one. I just ain't putting no folks out there. He ain't the only one, though. Yeah, we gotta, you know what I'm saying? We gotta still let folks be happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm wishing well to my, you know, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Listen, that's a part of the cure from the Bible for heart disease, right? Kill them with kindness. Kill them with kindness. right? Kill them with kindness. And we're not going as far as turning the other cheek, but we definitely down with the kill them with kindness, right? So everybody by now should have this. Everybody by now should have this. And so we're going to get into the weighing of the heart ceremony. And this is like one of the main things when I started to really get into. First of all, when I started to study the weighing of the heart ceremony is when some of my heroes started to not look like heroes, right? Because that's a part of me learning how new the information was to the world, not to the community or the online, whatever, but to the world, right? Because what I'm talking about, when I first started looking at the weighing of the heart ceremony, there was no YouTube. So the community was really a community. We really worked together every day, set up lectures and went to the lectures. And even if you wasn't speaking, you was there selling your stuff and blah, blah, like it was a real community, right? And just being honest, just to see people mention something, you got excited. You know what I'm saying? Because at the time, it seemed like it was mad deep. But now with more study, you go, oh, that was super surface level. That was super surface level. Just to be able to somebody to pull it out and show like, okay, this is the weighing of the heart ceremony. And, you know, the dead souls and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, Osiris. And you're like, oh, that's crazy. And then you going home and you trying to find info on it. And, you know, you stuck. There's no internet at the time. So all you got is whatever exists in your library. You know what I'm saying? And this is why a lot of people would travel to New York, because New York had 125th. You know what I'm saying? And not taking nothing away from Sarnetta, right? I'm not taking nothing away from Sarnetta, but Sarnetta was the most important part. I'll say he was the most important part because he was the person on 125th that attracted the attention. He was the attraction. Like when people left, even tourists or whatever, they remember him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he was a key figure. But in hindsight, you know, there's a lot of nameless people that don't get credit. You know what I'm saying? And the part that I'm getting to is the booksellers, right? The booksellers on 125th was just as important as the video community. You know what I'm saying? The video community was more popping because of Sa. You know what I'm saying? And because people was more lively. You know what I'm saying? The video people interacted. Some of the people selling videos like Sa was either a part of putting the lectures together, or like us, we were the people on the lecture. Like, because I used to be there with my lectures. You know what I'm saying? I was out there. I didn't sell everybody else's lectures. I was out there selling my lectures. You know what I'm saying? So that was a thing. Every one of the speakers, you could catch them on 125th with their videos, right? Because that's how you got their videos. Unless Sa had them. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the book guys was equally as important. They just was quiet. And some of the book guys, they didn't even really, like, some of them was African. They didn't really speak English good or none of that. You know what I'm saying? But at the time, this was the only place where you could get like all of the books that is not going to be at Barnes and Nobles. You know what I'm saying? All of them. You know what I'm saying? Because there's one time where you could go into any store and get, you know, like Behold the Pale Horse. But then after a while, that book wasn't in stores no more. and you could only find it on places like, you know what I'm saying? So the book people was important, especially at the time before there was an internet. You know what I'm saying? The book guys was golden. And me, with a whole bunch of other people, I'm be honest, we took it for granted. And that's why I'm saying they didn't really get their props and respect. And when we think back in hindsight, they don't get their props and respect because for us being New Yorkers, they was like in the way. They always had tables everywhere. And so it wasn't until I left New York that I grew more respect for the book guys, because I took for granted that come on, man, y'all everywhere. Like once I started moving and living in other cities and states, I realized that's a local thing there that don't exist nowhere else. You ain't got nobody with no 100, 200 titles of books that's not in bookstores like on. So I would even travel back when I didn't live in New York. I would travel back to just grab piles of books. You know what I'm saying? Grab piles of books, load up for the next few months or whatever. Grab me some DVDs, but the books for me was always more important. You know what I'm saying? The books was always more important. You know what I'm saying? And so that was the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you couldn't really find that type of info floating around. Yeah, the book guys was everything. The guys with the table selling the books, like that was it. That was the crucial, you know, because that's where the science was at. You went to the lecture, you could hear something about something, but you know, a lot of times guys giving lectures, they're not really going in depth. They're mentioning a bunch of different things. It's in a small 1 hour, 2 hour window of speaking. So if you want to go in depth on the subject, you got to do that on your own. The only speaker that used to spend time on one subject was Brother Kaba, Booker T. Coleman. You know what I'm saying? So I tried to steal as much as I could from his teaching style. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't really say it was stealing. That was, you know, that was like my mentor, him and Brother Azariah, may he rest in greatness. You know what I'm saying? But and Infudishi. That was my big three. Like Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick. I don't even like J. Cole or Kendrick. So I don't even know who came up with that big three. I don't really like Future that much either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know who comes up with these things, but they arguing about big three. And I'm saying to myself, how are they arguing about a big three amongst themselves? Like, first of all, y'all are copying off of the sports guys. And sports guys don't put together their own big three. That's like we don't have no video of Kobe, LeBron, and Mike arguing about who's top three. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's other people supposed to argue about that for you. That's fan enjoyment. That's fandom. We supposed to argue about big three. And respectfully, J. Cole and Kendrick would never be in my big three. Just saying. Neither would Mr. Molly and Percocet. I don't know how Future just did an interview talking about he upset because he people feel like he's sleeping. Bro, you talk about pills. You ain't never gonna be in a big three of rap. You're not a rapper. You're like a pop star of drug abuse. What the hell? What is going on with these people? So I don't know. Anyway, so for me, the weighing of the heart ceremony, like that was the main thing that drew me in. And then for years, you know, I would stay on that. So if you have this book, we're going to be going in starting on page. There's a lot of pages. What is that? kind of blood clot this?
The gods have blessed us. We must act now. We must act now to save us, to save our souls. The gods have blessed us. We must act now. We must act now to save us, to save our souls.
Yo. For real. Yo, hold on. And now my sound is going out. I'm trying to figure out why I can't hear no sound.
The gods have blessed us. We must act now. We must act now to save us, to save our souls.
Wow. Okay. So I just had the speakers wired into the mic and the mic wired into the speakers. Oh my goodness. Bruh. That's crazy. Well, at least y'all can hear me through the speakers all this time. So hopefully the sound sounds a little bit better now, because now I got the actual mic on. Crazy. Right? All right. So page 419. Right? If we go to page 419, right? Light as a feather. I don't know if y'all can see that good. We go to page 419. Page 419, we go through an article, and it is a scientific exploration of acupuncture, right? And it is talking about the fascia, right? It's talking about the fascia. And then we kind of get into the specifics of the heart and the Royal Arch degree. All right, so let's just hold on. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. All right, I got the pictures. I got some pictures in a slide. In a slide that I put together on masonry and wound up giving away to everybody for free. But the book, well, actually, I can pull up. It's a holiday. So I can find the book and pull up the book on the screen to help everybody be able to follow along. Right? Yeah, I think that might be the easiest thing to do. Because from studying the heart, it's how we got to the Wa scepter and the Jed pillar and the whole anatomy. Right? That's how we got to the whole anatomy. So let's do that real quick. Let me just Google one real quick. Let's just Google something. Hopefully, what we do today brings people more in touch with themselves, makes people more thankful, brings people back to the scriptures, brings people back closer into their relationship with God. You know, we can get some of this deviltry and Satanism. I feel like the more we dig through, right? Because we've been loaded with all of the reasons not to have any sort of organized spirituality, right? And so here, before we even go any further, let me tell you what was the first reason that I said to myself. And I'm not going to say which speakers I was listening to, because these are serious speakers from back in the days. I was sitting down listening, and they was talking about the quote-unquote Jewish community. This is way before we even knew what Kanye might have been a baby, right? This is back in the days. This is one of our popular black leaders from back in the days, no longer with us, right? But he was talking about the Jewish community and that they owned everything, right? So now, me being from New York, right, and me being raised a certain way, right, pun intended, but me being raised a certain way, I'm thinking to myself, and it just clicked in my mind at this moment. I was like, because being from the Bronx, you would see the Jewish guys, and they always studying. They always studying. If you're in the Bronx, you'll see them. If you're in Brooklyn, you'll see them. And when I say they always studying the Bible, they always studying the Bible. So in my mind, immediately, I started to think about all of the people in my community that didn't have anything, right? Everybody that was struggling. And I started to think about everybody that was doing well, right? I'm saying to myself, it's almost like the more religious you are, the better you do in life. Because as I'm looking at it, I'm looking at all the Spanish folks. They open up stores and all this. Boo, 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 boo. They got, they heavily into, church and this and that. And they got the prayers, this stuff going on everywhere. And they saints everywhere and candles burning. I'm like, interesting. Looking at the Dominican folks, I'm like, interesting. You see the Muslim guys coming in, the Arabs, and they got their program going on, but they Allah'd out of they Allah'd out the wazoo. I'm like, interesting. You start looking around, you see the nail salons and the Korean folks and all that. When you walk into the nail salon, they got altars in the middle of the nail salon. If you walk into the nail salon, there's a big altar right in the middle of the nail salon. They got their God right there on display. Boop, the whole program. I'm like, yeah, you start getting up the food chain. The folks own the buildings and all that, the landlords. I'm like, I don't know if we should be running away from this book. I'm like, yo, the further away you get away from this, it seems like it's the further away you get away from it, it seems like it's more trouble. So I don't know. Out of curiosity, I think I'm gonna go ahead and start looking through one of them joints. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna have to start looking through one of them books there. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I start seeing all the stuff going on in my family. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need some answers. And I think maybe so so early on I just started to, and so I think that over the years, we just pick up a lot of information from different places and we try to reconcile it in our brain, but we don't really spend much time. We don't really spend much time like getting to the bottom of it, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? We just take it on face value. We just take it on face value. Like, okay, this is this. You know what I'm saying? I heard this, and so, and then we start mashing stuff together over time. You know what I'm saying? We start mashing stuff together over time without persistently looking into anything. And so that's what I'll do. I'll get to the bottom of it. I start grabbing all of the books associated, looking at the back, the bibliography, the reference books, start trying to find those books. Now it's easy. Back in the days, it was hard. You had to travel to physical bookstores to find books. Now you just order it on Amazon. You just type it in. Boop. You can find the book anywhere. Bam. You know what I'm saying? But I think that part is important. Okay, boop. All right, we got one. Dad life is real. Yo, this look kind of raggedy. This look kind of raggedy. Right? Let's see if we can find us a better one. That one looked wildly raggedy. So many of these joints. That's terrible. All right, this is getting crazier and crazier. All right, it's getting crazier and crazier. Oh, I think we got something. No, thank you. Other. All right, at least this was vibrant. Right, at least this is vibrant. This looks terrible. Right, at least this is vibrant. It doesn't hurt your eyes. Right. So I probably want to. Yeah, let me find this as well. Let me see if I can find this also. If not, I got this stuff that I could just pull up, which is what I probably should do. This kid's too out of control. Oh, here we go. Here we go. We could use this one right here. Ooh. Even though I like mine's better, but this does at least show the stars of the show. I don't know what that is. There we go. Can we get that? Bam. All right. So this was a key thing, right? Because you don't always see. That's the one thing about Shu, is that you don't always see him, right? You don't always see Shu. That's the whole trick about Shu. So early on, first thing I learned about Shu is that Shu is the hidden one. Shu is the actual hidden one, right? Where is my cleaning off thingy? I need my cleaning off thingy. Here we go. So that's the first thing about Shu. Shu is always hidden in plain sight. Shu is always hidden in plain sight, right? Right? Think about it. You can't see your breath. You don't see the air. You don't see the wind. That's Shu, right? So Shu is always there, but he's like he's hidden right in front of you. Even though you're looking right at him, you don't see him, right? Translucent, right? So you look at the weighing of the heart ceremony the whole time, and you don't realize that of all the gods on here, Shu is the most important. Right? Shu is the most important. But you don't see Shu. You do see Shu. Shu is right there. This is Shu. This one glyph by itself says Shu. Right? So that was a part of, like, this is how the craziness started in layers. Because initially, like most people, I was told that that was the feather of my aunt, right? And that's how I learned it. So every time I seen that feather, I go, oh yeah, that's the feather of my aunt. Over time, I learned that for whatever reason, now I eventually learned the reason. Eventually, I'm gonna tell y'all the reason. But I learned for whatever reason, Shu was hidden. Shu is hidden. Shu is written out of history, period. Shu is written out of religious history. Shu is written out of ancient Egyptian history. Shu is written out, period. You will hear people discuss the weighing of the heart ceremony. They never will mention Shu. There's 1,000 videos on the weighing of the heart ceremony. They never mention Shu, right? They would just say, well, the weighing of the heart ceremony is where the dead soul was judged. And Anubis would, judge the dead soul, and your heart had to be light as a feather. Your heart had to be light as a feather, right? So now, abstract study, right? This is the thing about abstract study. You don't even know, okay, in religion or in spiritual context, you don't know that you're getting riddles. You don't know that you're getting clues, right? You are told that you're on a spiritual journey. You're told this, but you don't get that you gotta go. Like you gotta go. Like you gotta travel. You gotta, pun intended, right? You gotta travel. You gotta push yourself to go. And the wind in your sails, pun intended again, right? It's supposed to be these little clues, right? And that's how you go through various levels of spiritual awakenings, because, as you're studying and practicing, that's the other part. It's not just reading stuff. You have to actually pray and meditate and go through stuff in your life. And then when you go through stuff in your life, you got to rely on this stuff to get you through. And all of those become your studies, right? You are your own living spiritual case study, right? Along with whatever information, because technically, when we're reading, the readings are other people's life stories and other people's experiences with their spirituality. And so you're supposed to be leaning on them, right? If you're a Bible person, you're supposed to be leaning on the Jesus story or the Moses story, or, how they went through their life, the trials and tribulations they went through, and how God got them through, how prayer got them through. And so you take that and pull that into your life, and you go, okay, well, Muhammad was supposed to not even be able to read, and he was in the cave, and he wrote so you're supposed to grab from these life stories and pull into your life. It's not supposed to just be dead study, right? They're supposed to come together. Study, actualize. Study, actualize. Faith works. Faith and works, right? So I realized, though, you know what I'm saying? Like, Shu is hidden. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a clue right there. You're supposed to follow that up, right? Light as a feather. You're supposed to be light as a feather. Well, Shu is also the god of light. Shu is also the god of light. So you're supposed to be light as a feather, which basically means you're supposed to be Shu-like. Right? You're supposed to be Shu-like. You're supposed to be living your life in a way like Shu. Right? That's what you're supposed to be doing. That's what the text tells you. The whole weighing of the heart ceremony. Right? Which is why Shu, or the feather, is the focal point. Right? Shu is also the first son. Right? You have Atum, self-created, and then he has two kids, a boy and a girl. Shu, firstborn son. Right? So, we hear a lot of stories where the prophets are supposed to be like Osiris, or they're supposed to be like Horus. And you've heard a lot of people do the Jesus comparisons. Oh, Jesus got his whole story from Osiris. Jesus got his whole story from Horus, or Mithras, and this one and that one. They forgot the blueprint, right? They forgot the blueprint. So the whole weighing of the heart ceremony starts on this thing here, right? And it's supposed to be the dead. And then that's kind of where you get to Osiris, right? Or Asar or Wusir. I just say Osiris because most of the world knows Osiris. It's much easier. Back in the days when I used to say Wusir, I used to be, what? Who's that? Who's Wusir? What are you talking about? Is that a new type of Egyptian god? It's a lot of Egyptian gods. I'm like, no, that's Osiris. They say, no, Osiris is Osiris. Who's Wusir? I'm like, Osiris, right? Then later on, as I've known about names and frequency and power, I'm like, I like Osiris. Anyway, because Osiris, it talks to you about some other stuff, right? talk to you about some other stuff, because remember, the Greeks were the students of the Egyptians, and everything that the Greeks learned from the Egyptians became today's science. So even when they say, like, the eye is the window to the soul, that's because Osiris's name is spelled with a big eyeball, right? Yeah, spelled with a big eyeball. Anyway, so you got the weighing of the heart ceremony, right? So you got Anubis. I'm pointing to the screen with my finger like y'all can see. So you got Anubis and you got Shu, right? And the tricky thing is, if you notice, Anubis is holding on to the scale right here. So he's cheating. Anubis is cheating, right? And it's a part of the depiction. So because it's a part of the depiction, that tells you how important Anubis is. So it's not just the scale, but it's having favor with Anubis, right? It's not just the scale, it's having favor with Anubis, right? Which is the reason why you have Caleb in the Bible as a hero. Caleb is dog. And anyway, so one of the other things that got me to going, right, was this whole scale thing, right? This is a lever scale. At the time, I didn't know that this was the first lever scale in history, in written recorded history. I learned, like everybody else in school, that the Greeks invented the lever scale, right? Right up until we got some dates and some times and some chronology. And this thing here is like 2,000-3,000 years older than Greece itself, right? That totally eliminates that idea that Greece invented the lever scale, right? But once I started to learn more about the body, also, I learned that your body, this is symbolic of your body, right? Because your body works as a system of levers. Your body works as a system of levers. What is going on? Can y'all see the screen still? Can y'all see the screen? Hey, yo. Okay. On a blood clot this. Pool, absolutely. Same thing with like Wusia, Asar, and Osiris. You got Anpu, Impu, Imp, right? All of those are other names for Anubis. Yep, all of those are different names for Anubis. Yeah, apparently only my screen went out. So on the StreamYard, you got these screens at the bottom. I thought when my screen went black, that the whole screen went black, but now I see it's just the books keep hitting this button over here. Yeah. Right, but this is how your body works. Your body is a system of levers, right? All of your joints are levers, right? Important little key little thing that we need to. So that kind of leads me down the road, and I wind up over here. And this is again, my man Shu is when you look at this, right? As a kid, when I was looking at these pictures, I thought I didn't pay no attention to the table. Let me just say it like that. Right? I thought that was a table. I thought that was Anubis working on Osiris, and Osiris was laid flat on a table. Like I didn't put no extra emphasis on it. And I thought that thing coming off of Anubis's butt was his tail. Right? I always thought this was Anubis's tail right here. Can y'all see that? You see my mouse moving around? Yeah, right there. I thought this was Anubis's tail. And I thought Osiris, the mummy, was just on a table. Right? I didn't even recognize until later that this was Shu, once again, hidden in plain sight. That's what this lion is. This lion is Shu. Right? This lion is Shu. Because what Anubis is attempting to do here is resurrect, right? And or prepare, right? Depending on the story. He's either preparing Osiris for the next life or resurrecting Osiris, because he's a part of the Isis story and the conception of Horus, and but Shu is there. And it makes sense for Shu to be there because Shu is the one who provides the breath of life. Right? Shu is the one that provides the breath of life. So all of these key little nuances, I'm picking up from just paying attention to the story here, right? Because you look, that's what we got going on here is Anubis. Now, Thoth is in this picture twice. Which gives him a much more significant role than people would think, right? Thoth is not just a scribe, right? Because you have Thoth right here, obviously, Jehudi, right? And we probably should just say Jehudi because the Thoth thing has gotten crazy, right? But you got Jehudi here, and then you also have Jehudi here at the top of the scale. And so this is where I started to think about the mind, how important the mind was, because you have the baboon here, which is Jehudi, and that represents wisdom. And it's your experiences through life that's being measured here, right? So just little jewels that I was picking up to make me start to dig further and further and further. Now, unless you are into other studies, you don't really have anything more to go on. I mean, you got a mitt over here ready to gobble up, but that's that's just savagery part of, what I'm saying. But unless you're into the science, you don't really have something else to go on, right? Because you start to step outside of what you see here and you start to add in some more stuff and you start to think about what the heart represents. Well, inside the body, the heart is the most electric and magnetic organ that you have, right? So for me, I wanted to understand the heart being here in terms of relating to your life experience before I even knew that in Kemet, your mind was a projection of your heart. I had already come to those conclusions in my own mind, right? I had already come to those conclusions in my own mind, pun intended, but because you see the baboon here, you see Jehudi here, and you see the heart, right? So later finding out about the magnetism, that just made sense. And immediately I started looking for the electric component here with the feather. And from there, I was racking my brain to figure out what body part this represented, right? I wanted to find a body part for this, even though for years I was stumped. I ain't gonna lie. I was kind of giving up because you just can't find a feather body part. So I was just happy that I had found electromagnetism in ancient Egypt, right? I was happy enough with that discovery. Like, okay, I'm getting ready to go debunk all of the Egyptian scholars because I done discovered that the weighing of the heart ceremony is about balance and magnetism and electricity. So they're gonna have to respect my gangster in terms of this research because I done discovered something nobody else did. So we're gonna have to, right? Now, this right here, isn't this right now? Hold up, sidebar. Ain't it crazy that all of the basketball players do this now? Right? This is the too small. When they score on you, they do this to show you too small. Yo, I kill me. But that's what they do now, right? When they score on you, that's what they do. Right? Don't they do that? Like, yo. I'm just saying. You gotta wonder where we get this stuff from. Right? And these up here, these supposed to be the stars, right? These supposed to be the stars. But it got real. It got real once I figured out. I had to just pull up my presentation. Okay, that's better. Right? Once I figured out this, then it was on. Then it was up. Then it was up. right? Then it was up. Because now I found my body part. It took a long time. I'm talking about from the time that I was a kid to close to 40. You know what I'm saying? So 20 years maybe looking, searching, and just after a while, like, that's what it is. That's the feather, that shoe, you got it. That's pretty much as far as you're going with it. You done took it further than other people have taken it. Just be satisfied with that, right? You discovered electromagnetism in the weighing of the heart ceremony. Like, leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, we didn't leave it alone, right? So not only did we know that shoe represents the electricity and blah, 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 but now we got a body part, a set of tissue. In fact, the fascia is everywhere. So this is even bigger than any specific body part because this works and affects every body part, right? This is literally how your body stores electricity, the whole body, right? So this was crazy. I was like, yo, this is insane right here, right? This is insane that our body is kind of designed with these feathers. Like, this is really, right? So then, you know what popped into my mind, right? You know what pops into my mind? Let me show you what pops into my mind. Let me show you. Okay, let's go here. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's using the ESV version of the Bible, right? Everybody's on the ESV version. So I guess we'll use the ESV version as well. English Standard Version. Right? Actually, I still like the King James Version. I'm still rolling with King James. All right? But let's work through this. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Right? In the beginning was the Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. And the Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of man. In him was life, and the life was the light of man. And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. he came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, blah, 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 blah. But right there, that is what popped in my mind. I was like, the word was made flesh. The word was made flesh. I was like, for a book where people try to make a lot of commentary about, the flesh doesn't matter and the skin doesn't matter and genes doesn't matter and DNA doesn't matter. I'm like, I'm starting to think that nobody has actually read this book, because 90% of the book is about the flesh, the genes, the blood, right? People even say the blood of Jesus, right? The blood of Jesus heals. I'm like, the blood of Jesus, the flesh, such and such begat such and such, begat such and such. These are the children of God, not everybody else. I'm like, this is highly specific, right? This is highly specific. So you could throw out the book and not follow the book, not believe in the book, not study the book, not read the book. You can light the book on fire, do whatever you want to do with the book, but it doesn't change the stuff that's actually in the book. What's in the book is in the book, right? So that word becoming flesh, or, like God becoming flesh, I was like, yo, this is kind of spooky. This is crazy, because literally I have located a God as like, this is flesh right here. And this everyone has, so you don't have to be like, this is not a white or black thing. Everybody has fascia. Everybody's skin, literally, that you have skin, then you have fascia. Then you have fat, then you have fascia, right? Then you have your muscles, then you have fascia, then you have your organs, like not necessarily in that order, but that's just kind of how it goes. There's a layer, then there's fascia, then there's a layer, then there's fascia, then there's a layer, then there's fascia, right? So your body is built as a capacitor already off the rip. Your body's built as a capacitor, right? With layers of conductive tissue in between layers of insulative tissue. That's the fat. So you have layers of conductive tissue, which is the fascia, in between layers of non-conductive insulative tissue, which is the fat, right? So fat and fascia alternating, right? You already have, your body's already designed like a complex electronic device, right? So I'm like, yo, this is kind of crazy right here, right? This is kind of crazy. Wearing white during a ceremony? I more tend to think that the white is based on visible light, visible light or pure light from what the eye can tell, right? So visible light, really, because that's how we get it. It's not till you put it through like a prism or stones, right? Then that's where you get, like the stones on the breastplate. So when you go through the Bible, the Israelites have a breastplate and it has 12 precious stones. And nobody believes that the stones are precious because there's no diamonds on it. We've been programmed in our mind, diamond, diamond, diamond. And then as technology moves forward and we figure out that diamonds is made from carbon and, there's so many technical applications for nanocarbon and all this other stuff. We just diamond out, right? But the other stones have other properties that diamonds don't, right? And so that's the thing that people got to get. Like, so the first laser comes from the Bible, right? The first laser, when they made the very first laser, that understanding, that information comes from the Bible, right? Using the rubies, right? But the stones that's in that breastplate, they all take pure light and turn them into, you can discern light with those stones. You can tell what kind of light is what. So if I take any one of those stones off the breastplate and shine a light, you know how, like, for instance, you take a diamond and you look at the diamond and they're looking at the diamond to see if the diamond is real. So basically they're using light to judge the quality of the stone. Well, you can use a stone to judge the quality of light. You can do it with a diamond too, but the diamond is dead. Like when you put a pure light through a diamond, it's just black, just dark. You know what I'm saying? But when you take one of the stones from the breastplate and you put a pure light through it, it'll dance. It'll dance. You get the whole rainbow. And the rainbow is the covenant between God and man, right? So those stones are special in the context that they're used in the Bible. Yeah. It's crazy. Because then you got to ask yourself again, like, who knew about pure light and all this and all that, and isotropic and anisotropic stones and that, you know what I'm saying? Like that. Most people don't know about that now. Most people don't know what an isotropic stone is from an anisotropic stone. Like they like, wait, what is that again? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that's in the Bible that it's just hard to, almost impossible to have known at the time the Bible was written. That's why the longer I studied it, the longer I read the Bible, the more I fell in love with it. I didn't fall out of love with it, or like, oh, I'm debunking it. Yeah, this is who, or yeah, no, this comes from the Sumerian writings, or this comes from the Kemetic. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, this is just, all right, cool. I'm glad that the Sumerian writings were turned into the Bible. I'm glad that the Egyptian writings were turned into the Bible, because now this is an easy way for me to study the Sumerian and the Egyptian. this like Sumerian and Egyptian for dummies, right? Yeah, so either way, I'm in this book. You're not getting me out of this book, right? So, but yeah, like there's just stuff in there that's like, you got to be like, yo, how did they know, right? When they tell you in Genesis, the diet is supposed to be, you heard 1,000 times, the vegan diet comes from the Bible, right? The fruit, the vegetables with the seeds in it. Well, that little part about the seeds being in it is what makes it crazy for me, because in that time period, there was no such thing as Monsanto. There's no Monsanto in the year, 300 BC or 200 BC, whenever they put the Bible together. Like this, there's no 300 AD, whatever. The Council of Nicaea had no idea about Monsanto. Like they didn't know that there was getting ready to be fruits and vegetables that was artificially made without no seeds in it. So for me, the only reason to specify, make sure you eating the fruits and the vegetables with the seeds in it, is because they had the foresight to prophecy and say, you know what? It's going to be a time period coming when our babies It's going to be surrounded by, it's going to be some demons. It's going to be some demons out there. The Satanists is going to be up. Our baby's going to be outnumbered, and they're going to need this. So let's just go ahead and put that up in there. Just let them know. Right now, it might not make sense to anybody, but it's all right. Don't worry. This ain't for you. This is for the future. This is future generations. They're going to need this. They're going to be in a time period where they're going to have watermelons with no seeds in it. They're not going to be, the watermelon with the seed is going to be $8. The watermelon with no seed is going to be $3.99. And so they probably going to grab the $3.99 joint. And then 6 months, 6 years into eating that $3.99 joint, their penis is going to stop working. And they're not going to be smart enough to connect the fact that they've been eating 10 years worth of fruits and vegetables with no seeds in it. They're not going to connect that to the fact that now they seed is not working now. They done ate sterilized food. Now they're getting sterilized. They're not going to put 2 and 2 together. So let's just go ahead and make a note. Note to self, right? Because you are your children, right? Your DNA is you, right? So note to self. Eat the fruit. Like if you think to yourself, like, if I could go back in time and write a note to myself, think about it like that. That's how the Bible was kind of put together in some of these spots. It's like, if I could go back in time and write a note to myself, note to self, eat the fruits and the vegetables with the seeds in it, and listen to Inky, because Inky be talking that right? Yeah, that's hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. You're just busting in my program with the yeah.
I can mix them.
Do what you do, champ.
All right.
Yeah, like that's all you could say is like, bro, they was on a whole nother wave. They was in the future somewhere with it. They was already ahead of time. They was already here. They was already here with it. You know what I'm saying? So there's just a lot of those little spots and splashes where go, oh, okay, yeah, got to be something to this. So the divine inspiration, somebody was on something. Because it's wild. You know what I'm saying? Even the Pharmacia thing. You know what I'm saying? Pharmacia. That's a real company. I did the research. I found out that's Monsanto's parent company. So when you get to Revelation and it says the salesman of Pharmacia, I was like, I'm dead. I'm dead. Like, this thing is hyper specific. The salesman of Pharmacia, I was like, yo, that's crazy right there. But yo, bro, there's just some parts in there that you just be like, yo, how is that in here? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so for me, you know, like the word becoming flesh, like that's an important whole concept on multiple levels. The word becoming flesh, especially when you're talking about children of, the word becoming flesh. And then you talk about the do's and the don'ts. Because a lot of the do's and the don'ts is like, okay, this is how we take care of the flesh. Like, okay, clearly the flesh is the main thing. Like, we go back to the Adam and Eve story. God gave them flesh. Like, they already alive, technically, right? To some extent, whether, you know, they're in the spirit or they're alive with different types of bodies and God upgrades their body and whatever. There's so many different stories floating around, right? I'm not going to get into our specific, you know what I'm saying? We got a specific detailed version. But just in general, speaking to everybody's different belief system about what's going on, what you can't not, like, let me see what verse that is. Let me see what verse that is. Okay, so let's go. Okay, bang. Right? You see it there. Right? So now this is after a lot been going on already. Right? The serpent, God, the fruit of the tree, the whole program had already unfolded. Right? And they got coats of skins. Right? They got coats of skins. So some people have explained that away in a variety of different ways, right? But the verse we just read from John, it said that the word was made flesh, but that the word is was at the beginning. So the word that's made flesh is there this whole time. So that's a part of any type of flesh, skin, whatever, right? So it's just in there, right? You got to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So when we get over to Kemet, right? When we get over to Kemet, it's just crazy, right? Because now we got magnetism, we got electricity, and we got flesh. We got magnetism, electricity, and we got flesh, right? And then we got this story. Now, there's more to it, right? There's more to it, which is the reason why I was playing in the beginning of the video, the algorithm video, right? If y'all just want to see the algorithm video, y'all could just go to my channel and watch the algorithm video. It doesn't come up in the search engines because YouTube doesn't want y'all to see that video. So you can't search it no matter what. You got to go to my page and then you can type it in and it'll pop up. But if you search it from the regular Google bar, you can't find it. If you type in Dr. Inky algorithm, like it just won't come up, right? Yeah, that they don't want you to see that video. Right? But now you get into kind of the journey part, right? So in order to arrive there, right? So that's the other part of the weighing of the heart ceremony that really got me more deeper into this whole heart thing, right? In order to arrive there, right, where you're the guy in the weighing of the heart ceremony, right? During the ceremony, you got to go through like the whole commandments. I mean, negative confessions, right? You got to go through the confessions and talk to all of the gods and kind of like you on trial, you know what I'm saying? But before that, you actually have to journey through the heart. So that was another part that I discovered, right? That was another part that I discovered because, again, there was no literature on it. They would just tell you that, you know, in the underworld of Asar, of Osiris, right? You know, there's 12 different zones you got to go through, right? unless you really know about the heart, you don't really know that that's how your blood travels through your heart, right? You just thinking like it's 4 chambers in your heart, so that's that. But it's actually your blood goes through 12, right? Your blood goes through 12. So now there's a whole significance beyond. So like people try to get deep with the Bible and they go, oh yeah, the Bible is astrology. They go right to astrology. That's Bible's astrology. 12 zodiac, 12 tribes, 12 zodiac. I'm like, yeah, but for me, if it doesn't come back to biochemistry, it don't make sense. Right? Like they don't make dollars, it don't make sense. If it doesn't come back to science, that the biochemistry don't make sense. Right? So how does the zodiac affect us? Right? Think about it. Let's walk it down. It's low-hanging fruit. It's not that if you just spend half a second thinking about it, it just, oh, we get it. Yeah. God is light, right? And so stars give us light, right? So the zodiac is 12 different groupings of stars that give us a particular band of light. So we still come down to us needing to absorb that light and interpret that light, right? Because that's what we do with mechanical waves and electromagnetic waves. We got to absorb it, some form of fashion, through our skin, through our eyes, through our ears, through our spine. We got to absorb it somehow. And then our body has to convert that into some usable information, right? Whether we're absorbing infrared light, turning that into melatonin, whether we're absorbing UVB light, turning that into vitamin D, whether we absorb in UVA, turning that into more melanin, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever, we got to turn this into something, right? So if we're talking about different constellations, those constellations got to be absorbed. That all happens one way or another through the flesh. So those are running concepts throughout the Bible, right? Because God is light, right? But then God is also the word, right? So God is telling you, God is what? Mechanical waves and electromagnetic waves. God is electromagnetic waves. It says right there in the Bible, mad times. God is light. God is light. Jesus is light. The light of the world is there over and over. We can't get around it. Right? Now, because of racism, we have so many years of the Vatican. Right? So that's a thing that we have to deal with. We have a big blind spot that we have not healed from, we have not addressed, because it's still looming over us. It's still on our back. We have to deal with the Greco-Roman racial influence of what happened, right? Even the beef that the Jewish people have, right? Even the beef that the Jewish people have, they have to realize that they caught strays. They caught strays. Meaning, the Holocaust is a very real thing. Can't take nothing away from the Holocaust, right? But the Holocaust was directed to Black folks, which is the reason why Hitler started in Africa. The Jewish people were particularly dangerous because they felt like they had mixed blood and they was powerful. That was the difference. Black people, we Black, you know what I'm saying? We the main targets, we the main ops, but we haven't had any power. We hadn't had any money and any power to affect anything, right? The Jewish people had less blood because they were mixed, but they had money and power. So you couldn't really get rid of the bloodlines without getting rid of them. So that's how they got the part of it that they got. But Hitler started off in Africa. And then even after they stopped attacking the Jewish people, remember when they went to the Nuremberg trial, they confessed. They confessed. They said, listen, America, we got our blueprint from what you guys was doing with the black people. We was just continuing the work. So it's not like I'm making this up. They said this in the Nuremberg trials. This is what they said. Like, we was just doing, we thought y'all was with us. Like, we same team. What are y'all doing? How y'all coming? Like, what was y'all doing? Like, how y'all, we was following y'all blueprint. We got the Margaret Sanger books. We thought we was same team. And so that's how, at the end of the Nuremberg trials, what happens? America takes in all of the Nazi scientists. Yeah. Well, come on. Y'all was wilding. Y'all started going crazy and attacking the Jewish folks, and we ain't having that. Now, if y'all want to keep this to the black folks, then come on. We still got more black folks to deal with. Right? And what was they doing? Right? If we look up the word Holocaust, the Holocaust means to burn. Right? So as they were burning Jewish people, they was also burning black folks, though. They just wasn't putting us in ovens. We was getting hung and burned in public. Right? So we was getting burned out in the open. Right? We was getting cooked and burned out in the open. So, there's that. You know what I'm saying? So, and that was about racism, right? That was about racism. So that's an elephant in the room that we can't get around, right? Because there are ideas that now stick to the Bible, that stick to the church, that come from those early church fathers, right? And we got to remember the inception of this starts in racism. It starts with the Greco-Roman invasion of North Africa, right? And then from there, solidifying the power structure to make sure, okay, we always stay, and it was a masterful plan. If we could step outside of our emotions and just admire, like if we could do like sports players do and just watch the video, it was masterful. That was some masterful. The Greco-Roman program was phenomenal. Phenomenal. It's still running right now. That's how good it was. Right? So, and we don't realize it's mental. It's mental. Like, we got to get the key. And the key is that time, space, light, and sound are created right here in your temple. In your temple. Your temple, which is where you worship God or the devil. It happens right here in your temple. Right? So we got to get that part. This is why I show the anatomy and show you that you got pyramid cells in your brain. You got Amun in there. You got horns in there. You got a goat in there. You got an altar set up in there. You got the almond is in there from the Bible. Like, it's all in there. It's just it's cool to be like, oh yeah, astrology, yeah, but no. Neurochemistry, biochemistry, right? God tells you God is mechanical waves and electromagnetic waves. It's right there, right? We got to ask, what does that mean? Nobody discusses that. You have 100 different camps of Hebrew Israelites going crazy. You got 1,000 different types of churches of Christians. You got the Jewish folks, different camps of Jewish folks. You got nobody talks about the basics. The basics. The word. Right? Well, let's get to the basic part of this whole book here. Basic part of this book is the word. right? It's sound becoming light, light becoming flesh. That's what this book is about. Sound becomes light, light becomes flesh. You know, that sounds familiar from somewhere. I heard that before. Right? But God is light. And light use light, God, light, God is light. Light use sound, the word, to create the world. Right? And we got to think about it because structured water is in the mix. Because God moved over the face of the waters. Right? The face of the waters. Well, water doesn't have a face unless it's structured. Structured water has a face. Yeah, structured water has a face. We just watched Masaru Emoto make $1 zillion teaching Genesis. Hold on, let me show you this. Let me show you this because we need to get all this information. This can make sense. Masaru, did I spell his name? Masaru Emoto, prayer water. Right? Yeah. Right? Then we see Masaru Emoto, right? After the mysterious death of our sister who was teaching about the water, she mysteriously died. Y'all don't realize this came from the Bible. This is Bible talking here. This whole Masaru Emoto structured water vibe starts with Genesis. If you don't believe me, you should probably have read Masaru Emoto's book because the whole idea was you pray to the water before you drink it. Like people have the habit of praying over their food before they eat, but nobody prays over their water before they drink it. And so they did a whole bunch of studies showing that when you pray for the water, you know, thankfulness and blah, 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 that the water is different and it behaves differently in your body. And from there, they wanted to know if these differences was like in their mind or if this was physical changes in the structure of the water, right? And so then they started doing the studies and the studies came back like, yeah, these are physical changes in how the water, and so that's what this is right here. When you see the thank you and the angel and the I love you, these are the things that they mentally put into the water, right? And then when you look at the bottom ones, right? This is what the water looks like when you yell, you make me sick to the water, right? Or when you put evil, 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 when you project evil into the water, this is how the water looks. Polluted water before prayer, polluted water after prayer, right? So the face of the water has a face. I'm telling you, this book is crazy. The book is crazy. It's a lot of stuff in this book. Listen, the book is crazy. It's a lot of stuff in there, right? So I'm just saying, now this is the power of prayer, right? This is speaking specifically to the power of prayer, but you know, that's in there, right? So light, right? Light moved over the face of the waters. Light moved over the face of the waters, right? And used the sound, the word, and started creating, right? Now, why is that important? Because why is that important to understand that how that works? That's important to understand how that works. We're going to keep shooing our minds and our hearts. Every time you look at me, you're going to think it's Shu because, well, I'm shoot out. Right? But light travels anywhere, right? Light travels anywhere. Light does not need a medium. But sound needs a medium, right? Sound needs a medium. Sound needs something to travel through, right? Something. It needs something to travel through, right? Even if that's just what? The air, right? That brings us back to you know who again, right? It brings us back to right? So sound needs a medium. Light doesn't, right? They convert through the mediums, depending on the type of medium it is. So light can be converted to sound. Sound can be converted to light, depending on the medium that they are moving through, right? Depending on the medium that they are moving through. And light often is converted to sound. Sound often is converted to light because sound creates movement. Movement creates sound. So that's the other part to this. This is synonymous with vibration. So when we talk about movement being life, we're talking about sound. When we're talking about movement, we're talking about sound. Light can travel without any movement. I want you to absorb the hell out of that. Light can travel without any movement. Pun intended, absorb the hell out of that, right? Light can travel without any movement, right? That's why light can travel through a vacuum. Light doesn't need anything to move. It doesn't need anything to vibrate. But light can cause a thing to move or vibrate. Listen, light doesn't need anything to move or vibrate, but light can cause a thing to move or vibrate. So this is where you get into what? The first cause, God, right? The first cause, right? First cause, God, right? Word. Then we got water, face of the deep, structured water at that. And how does how does light make structured water? Right? Which type of light? Infrared is the most strongest. Infrared light is the strongest at structuring water. Infrared. Right? Infrared. So it just so happens to be coincidence, right? Infrared. All right, let's get this. Right? Structured water, light. So it just so happens to be coincidence that it's infrared, right? And the word atom literally is life, right? That's the A, or the Aleph is life, spirit, and the Dam means two things. The Dam means two things. The Dam means red, and then it also means blood. Right? The Dam means red, it also means blood. So it's layered into layers where you could just pull out the information. If, again, you either spend enough time or you Cash App, hit the Cash App. This is the moment where you take a break. Yo, Inky, this is pretty good info. All right, let's go to the Cash App. Send Inky a few dollars. Right? But no. So if you do the studying or Cash App someone to do the studying for you, right? You get to pull out more and more and more of the information. Right? You pull out more and more of the information. So that's where the red comes from, if you ask me. And the light or the white comes from the pure light, like I was saying earlier with the stones. And pure light, pure spirit, right? Because God is light, pure light. You're a soul, so you're composed of pure light, right? So when you see white used in ceremonies, it's symbolic of pureness, which is really referring specifically to pure light, right? Pure light, right? Yeah, we might need some deacons in a minute. We might need some deacons in a minute. It might get real. It might get really real. I'm telling you. Because right now I'm examining some materials right now. It might get crazy. Right now, somebody challenging my shoeness. Somebody's challenging my shoeness. That's how I know I'm getting ready to start trouble. Somebody's challenging my shoeness. But it's not somebody that y'all would know. I'll say that. It's not somebody that y'all would know. Yeah, it's not even a black guy. It's not even a black guy. It's not on YouTube. So I got you. Definitely happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Let's go. Let's go. That's what I like to hear. That the word is moving around, right? All right. So going back to this weighing of the heart thing, though, right? The shoe ceremony. Literally, it could be called the shoe ceremony. It's weighing of the heart ceremony because, well, that's just what it is. Right? The shoe fingerprints is all over it. Right? Now, in order to get to the scales, right? God is music in order to get to the scales, right? In order to get to the scales, you have to journey through the heart. Now, how do I know that they was actually talking about journeying through the heart? And that's what Osiris, because literally the weighing of the heart ceremony on the surface level was about journeying through the heart, right? They tell you it's going through all of your memories in life, right? Your memories recorded in your heart. So it's like saying, yo, I'm about to go through this hard drive, right? I got your hard drive. I'm about to go through your hard drive. Let's sit down and go through this hard drive together. This hard drive got everything stored on it. Everything you ever browsed on the internet is on this hard drive. So how much crazy foolishness I'm going to see, how much Pornhub, how much smut, how much violence, like what I'm going to see on when I go through this hard drive, when I go through your search history, right? When I go through your search history, what I'm going to see, right? So that's a surface level already giving you the indicator that that's what this is a journey through. It's a journey through the heart. So once you get the number, because that's what the numbers do. Numbers are direct indicators. Numbers are how you qualify and quantify. Because remember, everything exists only in your mind, right? Even numbers. You've never actually seen a number before. And it's just something that you never think of until you really sit down and I force you to spend time and think on it. Like, because now you watching it. Now I'm like, all right, stop. Think to yourself, have you ever seen a number? Is a number a quantifiable thing? Like, here's a cup. Y'all know what's in this cup. Y'all know I got that sea moss in this cup. That's a cup. You can pick up a cup. This is a cup. I can't pick up a number 9. I can't pick up a number 9. Like, I can make a depiction of a number 9. Like, I can even have a toy cutout of a number 9, right? But what if the person is from a country where they don't recognize this? This just looks like scribble scrap on a page. It's countries that have totally different writing systems. They don't use Arabic numbers, right? They don't use Arabic numbers. So they don't know what this is, right? This is just a way for us to remember a specific concept in our mind, right? But numbers are no realer than light or sound. It's all created in our mind. We have numbers, the ability to quantify light, sound, time, and space. Otherwise, we couldn't understand light, sound, time, and space. Like, they wouldn't make any sense. We wouldn't even be able to be intelligible. Alphabets, we invent. We invent alphabets, right? We invented alphabets, but we didn't invent counting, right? We didn't invent counting. That's just a facet of our mind. It's inborn, inbred into how our brains work, right? If we have 2 children, we go, this is one, this is another one. Now, if we do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I don't know, there's a zillion different languages, right? 1, 2, 3, like you know, right? And those are all in the same family of numbers, right? So it will get crazy. Let me see if Chase knows. Chase. Chase.
Yeah.
You know how to count to 3 in Chinese?
Count to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How it go?
San.
San. There you go.
Yeah.
I remember that from Tony was doing her Chinese thing. Okay, so San. Don't even say nothing about Chase with his little fake Chinese, because then his head would get more gassed, and he already got them he already got them eyes. He already got them eyes. I'll be messing with him too. Me Chinese, me play Chinese. I'll be dogging. But anyway, San is 1, 2, 3 in Chinese. Right? So San, a Chinese person that don't speak no English or none of them other languages, if you say 1, 2, 3 to him, he don't know. That's meaningless to him. He can count San. Right? So this all in our mind. Right? It's all in our mind. Right? So we have to understand, right, what the whole process is prepping for. Right? What the whole process is prepping for. Right? And so whether you look at the negative confessions, the commandments, etc., now that we know it's hardwired into your brain, now that we know it's hardwired into your brain, we spend the whole day on it. Now we know it's hardwired into the brain. Now we can go back and bigger than being hardwired into the brain, because let's do it. Actually, let's do this. Right? Because this is where this whole study came from. Once I started looking at this journey through the heart, right? Once I started looking at the journey through the heart, that's when this guy popped up. It's not clear, it's blurry. Well, anyway, we'll look at the top of it, right? But this was crazy because you don't get to see them. Oh, this is a great picture right here. Can we pull this up somewhere? Where is this at? Bam. That looks nice right there. Right? Even though the top part is small, that's not how that looks right there at the top. Right? But that's still a good picture. I feel like the person started making this diagram and realized they didn't have enough space. They ain't making enough space. It's hard to draw this because if you put in all of the stuff here, like the lungs and all this other stuff, it crowds the picture, right? It crowds the picture. But you get to see the whole entire aorta at least, or the whole entire Y septum, right? You get to see the whole Y septum right there. Right now, down here, depending on whether you're a man or a woman, determines what goes under this tuning fork down here, where your hips and your pelvis is, right? But up here, even when you see this from the front, it's hard to really fully see the back, right? Because those are the two most important body parts, at least on the surface level from Kemet, right? Is the heart and then the spine. And I'm working my way around to the brain. Y'all wondering what we doing over here. Right? The aorta is tied onto the spine. Right? The aorta is tied onto the spine. Here's a good one. Yeah, this is a good one. Right? See that? The aorta is tied onto the spine. And you see this layer right here? This is the most important thing in your body. Right? This is the most important thing in your body right here. And when you do pull-ups and push-ups, you work this, right? This is super important right here. This is where your blood comes from. This is where most of your blood comes from, like originates, right? When you're an adult, it's the bone marrow of the spine that's making the blood. When you're an adult, it's the bone marrow of the spine that's making the blood. Right? So all of your blood as an adult, most of it is going to come through from your spine, this layer right here, and it's going to go into circulation right directly into the aorta. That's what you see, these connections. So not only do these connections tie the aorta to the spine, but it's where all of the new blood that's being produced in the bone marrow of the spine, where it comes into circulation at. So this is why tomorrow we're getting ready to launch a challenge. For Black Friday, we're going to do a sale and a challenge for cholesterol. For the month of December, we're going to be doing a cholesterol challenge. For the month of December, we're going to do a cholesterol challenge for this very purpose right here. Right now, where it gets crazier, now mind you, I'm skipping through a bunch of books because I think it's in this book here. I think it's in the id book. I think it's literally in the id book when we talk about Hold on. Okay. Yeah. On page 72 in the ib book, right? On page 72, we talk about how high blood pressure affects the brain. High blood pressure affects the brain because high blood pressure, right? So when you think of anything, right? This is what I want you to understand. Whenever you hear about anything that has to do with your blood, right? Know that that's your aorta. Know that that's your aorta. Anything that has to do with your blood is happening inside the aorta. Right? All of your blood flow comes up off of this. So when we talk about diabetes, for instance, right? When we talk about diabetes, we talking about the aorta, right? Glycation, A1C, that's all happening inside here. When we talk about atherosclerosis, plaque, all of those things is happening in the aorta. It's not happening in your heart. It's happening inside the aorta. The aorta is the circulatory system. So when you hear cardiovascular health, that's aorta health. When you hear cardiovascular health, that's aorta health. People don't typically have diseases that they have to worry about in the veins. Right? So you don't really hear about anybody having any problems with the vena cava or anything like that they got. It's all right there in the aorta, right? In the branches of the aorta, right? Because that's what the rest of your circulatory system is. It's just branches of the aorta. So like you be on the big highway and then the big highway might exit off into a side street. Those are just side streets. And then when you get down to capillaries, those is like little roads and alleys. You know what I'm saying? But the main highway for all blood activity is the aorta. When you have cardiovascular disease, your aorta is toe up. The plaque, all that is building up there. It's getting deformed, swollen, turns different colors, all that. It's the aorta, right? That is the star of the show. Circulating new blood cells, old blood cells, oxygen, nutrients, all that happens in the aorta, right? So we actually got 2 books on it. We have this book, which speaks specifically from the heart perspective, and then we have the Fountain of Youth book, which speaks specifically from the aorta perspective. Right? We got the Fountain of Youth book, the Protein Shake Fountain of Youth book. Right? And that's not about making a mysterious type of protein shake. It's the aorta itself. The aorta itself makes your blood into a specific type of protein shake, Fountain of Youth. The Fountain of Youth is right there in your aorta. Scientifically verified, right? As a young person, the aorta pumps out certain types of myokines, right? As you age, those myokines change. So largely, the aorta controls your aging. Now, aging is superficial. That's not a real thing, right? There's just no other way to say that. Aging is not a real thing. Your body does not know you had a birthday. Your body doesn't know you had a birthday. You're just going around and around and around the sun, right? And if you listen to some people on the internet, they're not even sure that that's happening. So your birthdays are arbitrary, right? You're aging based on your lifestyle, how you breathe, and more important than anything, your emotions, right? That's what we're learning now, When we start to talk about the amygdala, right, we're learning that your emotions are largely controlling how you age, right? So your amygdala controls the aorta. So this is why I show you in the Speaking into Existence book, the amygdala, the aorta, and the bone marrow. Right? The amygdala, the aorta, the bone marrow. Right? The amygdala is going to control what the aorta is pumping out. And when you shock, scare, depress the amygdala goes into extended periods where it's telling your body to pump out coagulants, right? Clotting factors. And your body has a wide range of clotting factors. And those clotting factors shut down your organs. Heart, kidney, spleen, so on and so forth. Right? But the rest of the brain, though, has a secondary. So in here on page 72, we're talking about is how the aorta controls the flow of cerebral spinal fluid in the brain. Right? It controls the flow of cerebral spinal fluid in the brain. Right? So each pulse from the aorta is a pulse in the brain. You see how that works? You see how it's attached to your brain? So it controls how the cerebral spinal fluid passes through the brain. Right? So listen to this article. Flow of cerebral spinal fluid through perivascular spaces in the brain is important for clearance of metabolic waste. Arterial pulsations are thought to drive flow, but this has never been quantitatively shown. We use arterial pulsations are thought to drive flow. That's talking about in your ventricles. Let's pull those up, though, so we can see what we're talking about. I want y'all to see them like this. Bang. Right? So you can see how these things is all connected. Right? I want you to see how these are all connected to help make sense. Right? So the aorta, right, goes through your neck. In jiu-jitsu, you learn how to cut these off. Right? This is what the chokes do. The chokes cut off the aorta, right? And the person dies quickly or passes out and then dies, right? Brain damage, right? But it's not just a matter of sending blood, right? Because the pulses control the flow of cerebral spinal fluid through your ventricles. So they very much was teaching advanced biochemistry. It very much was hip. Right? They very much was hip. Right? Because this is a lot of coincidences. There's a lot of coincidences. Right? If we look at how the DNA is wrapped up with your histone, and then we look at the shin, and then we find out what the shin is. You say the shin is how your family passes down information. How you live forever, right? When you put a name in the shin, they live forever. Well, when your name is inscribed in your DNA, you live forever. You pass down that genetic material, right? So there's a lot of nuances, a lot of goodies that I found on this mission. I'm just trying to give it to y'all in the order. Hopefully it makes more sense as we start to, right? This is what we on for Thanksgiving. This is everybody is waiting for they vegan. Everybody waiting for the vegan turkey to get done. Right? Everybody waiting for their vegan mac and cheese to pop out. What that thumb up mean? Yo, my children are ridiculous, bro. I said vegan mac and cheese, so they oh my goodness. Yo, my children are wild. I said vegan mac and cheese out loud, so they busting in the door as if I somehow got a pot in here somewhere, like yo. They wild, bro. Hold on, man. Let me see what they got going on. Let me see what they got going on, because it's getting ready to get crazy. No, we still cooking, though. We still cooking. Don't y'all go nowhere. We still cooking. Don't y'all go nowhere. We still cooking. Hold on.
Every cycle you have ever heard of in the human body is a part of a unique rhythm, a set of rhythms in the human body. The heart must synchronize all these sounds into a beat, get order from chaos. This beat then entrains the brain, the magnetic field at large. The heart is the master clock. Think about the blood pH, 7.365. That's the exact days in the week and the exact days in the year. The heart has blood moving through the 60,000 miles of vessels in 60 seconds, culminating in the 12 gates of the heart into the wasp. The journey through the Holy of Holies is superior and inferior cava to the right atrium, tricuspid valve to the right ventricle, pulmonary semilunar valve to the right-left pulmonary artery, right-left pulmonary artery vein.
We did it. Yo, listen, we did it. We did it. It's time for us to celebrate. Listen, we got to get this word out. It's time for us to celebrate. We should be running the victory lap right now. We got to get this to everywhere ASAP. We done walk through the whole entire body. We done knocked out kidney disease, diabetes. Listen, this is the big one. This is the big one. We done took down heart disease. This is the big time right here. And the craziest part of this is where we found the cause and the cure of heart disease. The craziest part of this whole thing is where we found the cause and the cure. You got to go to Amazon now. Go to Amazon now
I can't tell you. It's about 15 books already that's no longer in print. You gotta get these books before they gone. You gotta get these books before they vanish.
Yes.
Pour something, reassure
Radio. Radio. Baby girl, it's on. Baby girl, it's on. No need to lose interest. Girl, I got your wish list. I'm only the account for show. Baby girl, it's on. Radio.
Let's go. It's time for us to take this from YouTube. We got to take this from YouTube. We got to take this to every single corner of the world. We got to spread this. We got to spread this. We got to spread this like radio waves. We got to spread this like oxygen. We got to spread this like water. We got to spread this to every corner of the earth. You got to understand where I'm coming from with this. Look where I'm from. You got to understand where I'm from to understand where I'm going with this. You got to understand where I'm from to understand where I'm going. Right now, as it stands, do you know people are reading these books on every single continent of the planet? Every continent on this globe. Right now, we have people studying the material. Right now, every continent on earth. We got to take that. We got to step that effort up. We got to make that every country. After we make that every country, we got to make that every city. After we make that every city, we got to make that every neighborhood. After we make that every neighborhood, we got to make that every single street, every road, every bookstore, every corner store, every barbershop, every beauty salon, every clubhouse, every sports team. And they in the locker room, they should be talking about us. Yeah, that's right. I said when they're in the locker room, they should be talking about, this is locker room talk right here. This is locker room talk right here. This is, I mean, I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words. God took me from my worst moment, and gave me the most powerful message. At my worst moment, I got the most powerful message. I couldn't write this if I tried. At my worst moment, when I need the most, I didn't come online for cash apps. I need some cash apps. I do need cash apps. I do need cash apps. I do need support. I need you to go to the Patreon. I need you to go to the website. I need you to go to Amazon. I need you to support. But in my worst moment, in my time of need, I withdrew. Nobody knew where I was at. Where's Inky at? People was returning orders and panicking and wellness checks, and it was time for me to go within. It was time for me to pray. It was time for me to meditate. It was time for me to cleanse. It was time for me to fast. They say, Inky, you looking skinny. Yeah, because I've been in a spiritual place. I haven't been eating. I can't even begin to tell. I mean, the only thing I can tell you is the proof is in the pudding. The only thing I can tell you is We have to speak this into existence. The only thing I can tell you is the lies that you've been told is bigger than what you think. The lies that you've been told is bigger than what you think. I can tell you that much. I can tell you the conspiracies. I can tell you that 90% of the conspiracies out there surrounding health are wrong. 99% of them are wrong. This thing is so outlandish. This thing is so outlandish, you would never guess in a million years what is actually going on. But I'm going to tell you, that's what I got. That's my charge. That's my charge. I have to tell you. That's my purpose. That's my destiny. My destiny is to explain to you how we end heart disease. My destiny is to explain to you why NASA hasn't been to the moon since 1969. Now, let me ask you a question. You know, like I know, that technology gets better as it goes along. How did we have the technology to get to the moon in the 60s, but we don't have the technology to get to the moon in 2024? I'm going to let that sink in for a second. If we had the technology to get to the moon in the 1960s, we didn't even have cell phones in the 60s. Wait a minute. We didn't have cell phones in the 60s, but we supposedly kept in touch with the astronauts as they was flying to the moon. How was that possible? How was that possible? How is it possible that we just witnessed a presidential campaign built on sterilizing men, sterilizing women, and promoting abortions? How did we just watch that? We just witnessed that. Or y'all was so blinded by the surface level issues, y'all didn't see y'all didn't understand. A trans man and a trans woman are sterilized. So you had a whole platform running on sterilization and abortions. Do y'all have any idea what's going on out here? Do y'all understand the design of the human body? Do you understand the design of the planet that we on? I'm trying to tell you. Somebody got to hear me. Somebody got to hear me. I'm trying to explain something to you. And when you're going to say, wow, Inky, you've been saying this to us for 20 years already. Yeah, but now everything is coming to pass. All you got to do is look around in the news. All of the proofs are happening around you. You're witnessing everything with your eyes. But you like a deer in headlights right now. Like you just watching everything happen and you stuck. Like you don't know what to do. It's time to get busy. It's time to move. It's time to go to action. It's time to go to action. It's time to go to action. It's time for us to mobilize. It's time for us to mobilize. It's time for us to step out. It's Don't worry about Goliath. Don't worry about the odds. If you worried about the odds, you're going to miss it. Because it's sitting right here in front of your eyes. I've been showing it to you. So I've been writing it. I've been telling it to you. I've been showing it to you. It's sitting right here in front of your eyes. Do you know what the biggest global investments are? Not every cycle you have ever heard of in the human body is a part of a unique rhythm or set of rhythms in the human body. The heart must synchronize all these sounds into a beat, get order from chaos. This beat then entrains the brain, the magnetic field at large. The heart is the master clock. Think about the blood pH, 7.365. That's the exact days in the week and the exact days in the year. The heart has blood moving through the 60,000 miles of vessels in 60 seconds, culminating in the 12 gates of the heart into the wasp. The journey through the Holy of Holies is superior and inferior cava to the right atrium, tricuspid valve to the right ventricle, pulmonary semilunar valve to the right left pulmonary artery, right left pulmonary artery vein. We did it. Yo, listen, we did it. We did it. It's time for us to celebrate. Listen, we got to get this word out. It's time for us to celebrate. We should be running the victory lap right now. We got to get this to everywhere ASAP. We done walk through the whole entire body. We done knocked out kidney disease, diabetes. Listen, this is the big one. This is the big one. We done took down heart disease. This is the big time right here. And the craziest part of this is where we found the cause and the cure of heart disease. The craziest part of this whole thing is where we found the cause and the cure. You got to go to Amazon now. Go to Amazon now. I can't tell you, it's about 15 books already that's no longer in print. You got to get these books before they gone. You got to get these books before they vanish.
Yes. Doing something, reassuring something.
Radio. Baby girl, it's on.
Doing something, reassuring something.
You think you know what the biggest government investments are. You think you know what the world resources are. You have no idea what the number one resource is. You have no idea what's going on right in front of your face.
Yes. Doing something, reassuring something.
Radio. Baby girl, it's on.
Doing something, reassuring something.
Listen, everything is not for the internet. I'm trying to explain something to you. Everything is not for the internet. Everything is not for the internet. As much as can be said, we have said. As much as can be said, we will say. But everything is not for the internet. What we have to do now is take matters into our own hands. Our future is in the palm of our hands. Our future is in the palm of our hands. Your children's future is in the palm of your hands. Your mama, your auntie, your uncle, your best friend, the guy at the corner store, Do you see everybody, the Muslims, the Christians, the Kemetic brothers, the Kemetic sisters, the Buddhists, the atheists, the agnostics? You cannot live in this society and avoid diabetes, kidney disease, heart disease, lung disease, brain disease, fibroids, cysts, tumors, cancers, alcoholism, processed food, blunt wraps, cigarettes. I mean, Pornhub. Listen, we have no idea how many different things are contributing. How many different things are contributing to the leading cause of premature death? Yes, premature death. We got scientific proof now. We can prove it. We can prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. 2024, we do not have to look at disease the same way no more. Knowledge is power, and we done finally evened up the score. Every single Cash App, every purchase, every bit of support has been worth it. Every like of the video, every subscriber, every person that had to refine my page, every time the pages got deleted. The page got deleted, you had to come back and find me somewhere else. The page got deleted, you had to come back and find me again. We done lost over 15, 20 different YouTube pages. But you stuck with me. You stuck with me. Step by step, moment by moment. Every setback, you watch me fall on my face and get right back up, get right back in front of people again. There've been times that I didn't even know how I was going to figure this thing out. I didn't even know what I was going to do next. Listen, all of those moments culminate in this moment. This is our time to push. This is our time to demonstrate. This is our time to take back our lives, take back our freedom. This is our time to get rid of that fear. They're like, oh yeah, Doc is on one. Oh, Doc, listen, Doc is on 2. Listen, Doc is on 10. I had no idea. I'm looking at heart disease. I'm like, okay, well, the heart disease clearly got to be related to the cholesterol. It got to be related to the fat. It got to be related to the salt, high blood pressure. Salt. You got high blood pressure. It got to be the salt. I said, no, I'm black. I'm dark skinned. I'm dark skinned. So it got to be what? You dark skinned, then it got to be what? It got to be sugar. You dark skinned, it got to be diabetes. It got to be diabetes causing the heart disease. I mean, if we Google it, we Google it, we Googling. If we Google it, A1C, I mean, that got to be the culprit. I mean, we need to be out in bulletproof vests with pistols looking for A1C. We need to be out with pistols looking for somebody named cholesterol. If I let Google tell it, we need to be out with pistols looking for cholesterol and his right-hand man, sugar. Sugar and cholesterol is killing more black folks than the KKK ever did, according to Google. According to Google, sugar and cholesterol is the cause of heart disease. According to Google, somehow cholesterol is causing my arteries to close off. Somehow cholesterol is causing my heart to spasm. Somehow cholesterol is stopping blood flow from reaching my heart. Guess what? Google is the same place. Google is the same place that's telling people with 20 trillion, you know, you might as well say a gazillion. You might as well say a Google. You might as well say a Google. Telling people with a Google blood cells full of iron that magnetism has nothing to do with your blood flow. Every blood cell is full of iron, but they telling people that iron in your blood has no magnetic properties. Magnetism has nothing to do with your blood flow. Magnetism has nothing to do with how your heart works, even though we are told that we have to have iron to make the blood. We have to have iron. We know that iron is intrinsically magnetic. We know iron is intrinsically magnetic. Naturally.
Yes. Doing something, reassuring something.
Radio. Baby girl, it's on.
Doing something, reassuring
Baby girl, it's on.
Nah, I'm on one. I'm on one. We getting down to the wire. I'm on one. I'm trying to tell y'all something. We got the cause, we got the trigger, and we got the supporting cast. See, the problem is the supporting cast has been promoted as the cause and the trigger. The supporting cast has been promoted as the cause and the trigger. And guess what? We going into heart attack season. We going into heart attack season. We going into heart attack season right now. Billions of people with high A1C levels. Billions of people with high cholesterol. Billions of people that are overweight. Billions of people that are out of shape. Blind. They have no idea what's going on. They have no clue. Listen, don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's about the iron and sulfur clusters. It's about the iron and the sulfur clusters that are paired with hemoglobin. Right? The iron and sulfur clusters that are paired with hemoglobin that makes up the electron transport chain. Right? It's about breaking down glucose. It's about breaking down glucose. Right? It's about breaking down fat, right? The glucose is going to promote electrons to be ferried or carried to the electron transport chain through cytochrome 1. Fat metabolism is going to promote electrons to be ferried to the electron transport chain to cytochrome 2. It's about the electrons moving through the electron transport chain, creating proton gradients. It's about cytochrome 3 collecting electrons, pooling electrons. It's about cytochrome 4 producing hundreds of gallons of water, fresh hundreds of gallons of water in your body every day. Your mitochondria do that. It's about cytochrome 5, recycling ATP. Recycling ATP so that ATP could be dropped in the cytoplasm. When it's dropped in the cytoplasm, the structured waters that you know of as the cells in your body, yeah, it's going to be oxidized. That phosphorus is going to reduce itself down to ADP. That fired off phosphorus is going to have an exothermic reaction, releasing light into the cell. That light released into the cell is going to power your cells. How come nobody told anybody that before? That took me to come to the people in the world at large still don't know that. The world at large still does not know that each one of your cells runs on light. So if I say, I'm studying the ancient ones. If I say, I'm studying Sumer. If I say, I'm studying Egypt. If I say, I'm studying the Bible. If I say, I'm a Christian, I love Jesus. If I say, I believe Jesus Christ is my Savior, in 2024, I face more ridicule than somebody telling you that they've been kidnapped by aliens. In 2024, I face more ridicule than somebody telling you that men can have a period. I face more ridicule than people telling you that men have a menstrual cycle. Even though what I'm telling you can be verified with some simple reading. Even though what I'm saying not only could be verified, but nobody else should be doing anything. No, nobody should be doing anything else. Nobody should be doing anything else. You should be asking, why is this hidden? This is forbidden knowledge. Why? Why is it not okay for people to know how their cells work? Why is it not okay for people to know how their cells work? Why is it not okay for you to know that the cell phone works the same way your cells do? That the radio works the same way your cells do? That the TV set works the same way your cells do? That satellites work the same way your cells do? When they talking about nuclear bombs, you know nuclear bombs work the same way your cells do? I'm talking about nuclear warheads. Oh my God, they're so powerful. We got to avoid nuclear war. We're on the brink of nuclear war.
Yes. Doing something, reassuring something.
Radio. Baby girl, it's on.
Doing something, reassuring something.
You worried about nuclear war, but you ain't worried about your nuclear DNA. Wait a minute. You worried about nuclear war? You not worried about nuclear DNA? I'm telling you, you looking in the wrong direction. You're looking for nuclear war to happen in the sky. You looking for nuclear war to happen with missiles. You don't know that the nuclear war is already happening, and it's happening inside your body. Cancer's going through the roof. What do you think that is? What do you think that is with all these chemicals being pumped into your body to destroy your nuclear DNA? That's biological warfare directed at the nucleus of your cells, your nuclear.
Yes. Doing something, reassuring something.
Radio. Baby girl, it's on.
See, the closer we get to the truth, listen, the closer we get to the truth, the more the full court press is on. Oh yeah, the pyramids, you know, they got some electromagnetic, you know, but the aliens built the pyramids. See, the aliens built the pyramids, so that took that. Now you got Senate conferences, congressional hearings on UFOs right now. You got congressional hearings on UFOs. Do you know who them people is? You so hype and so happy. Oh yeah, this mean the UFOs is. Do you know who these people are? You know who they pray to at night? You know what the synagogue of Satan look like?
Yes. Doing something, reassuring something.
Radio. Baby girl, it's on.
Doing something, reassuring.
I'm telling you right now. Do you understand that these big antennas that's quietly placed all over the planet, do you understand that these big antennas work just like your spine? Your spine going up into the midbrain to the entorhinal cortex. The entorhinal cortex to the hippocampus, to the amygdala, to the ventricle system, to the third ventricle. Do you understand? Do you understand what kind of technology is beneath your flesh? I don't think you do. I don't think you have a clue what kind of crystal semiconductor, superconductor, like each one of your cells, trillions of them. And each one of them is filled with nanotechnology. The nanotechnology that you scared of. Oh, they making nanotechnology. They put it in the water. They putting it over here. Listen to what I'm telling you. There's no laboratory anywhere on Earth, anywhere close to mimicking what you have inside your body. They trying. Don't get it twisted. They trying. And while they're trying to mimic what you already have, they putting every type of poison you can imagine in your body to stop what you have from coming online. All these people studying astrology, they should be studying astronomy. If they were studying astronomy instead of astrology, because see, astrology, they trying to figure out relationships. They trying to have sex. They trying to consciously, they trying to be in a positive, high energy, high vibration orgy. Like they listen, astronomy would tell you the sign of the times. Astronomy would tell you what time it is. We living in the era of the fallen stars. We living in the era of the fallen stars. I'll repeat that for you. We living in the era of the fallen stars. Our children right now are running around in the street, cross-dressing, talking about they on demon time, killing each other. Listen. Our babies are cross-dressing, talking about they on demon time, killing each other. And we laughing it off. Hey, them kids is crazy, ain't they? Oh, man, they crazy. They wild out there. Yeah, we got to stay away from them. They bugging. Huh? These kids being fed to the beast. They being fed to the beast. This is the time right now. We are eating our own babies. We are eating our own babies. We are consuming our babies. Literally and figuratively. Listen to what I'm telling you. Literally and figuratively. They don't want to see a black woman as a president. They don't want to see a black woman as president. You might need to go and check what's happening with those aborted babies. What are they doing with those aborted babies? Did you ever ask yourself that? The millions of aborted babies. You ask yourself where them babies going? You ask yourself why they selling them babies body parts? They got a body parts menu. Every single one of them abortion clinics sells aborted baby body parts. You never asked yourself that? So are you so anxious to see a black woman president that you don't mind what's happening with these babies? Are you insane? Or maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm misjudging you. Because I don't know who you pray to at night. I don't know what synagogue you go to. I don't know what church you in. I don't know what temple you in. I don't know what mosque you in. I don't know what church you in. Maybe that's the problem. Time, paying attention. Stop. Every cycle you have ever heard of in the human body is a part of a unique rhythm or set of rhythms in the human body. The heart must synchronize all these sounds into a beat. Get order from chaos. This beat then entrains the brain, the magnetic field at large. The heart is the master clock. Think about the blood pH, 7.365. That's the exact days in the week and the exact days in the year. The heart has blood moving through the 60,000 miles of vessels in 60 seconds, culminating in the 12 gates of the heart into the wasp. The journey through the Holy of Holies is superior and inferior cava to the right atrium, tricuspid valve to the right ventricle, pulmonary semilunar valve to the right-left pulmonary artery, right-left pulmonary artery vein. We did it. Yo, listen, we did it. Listen, We did it. It's time for us to celebrate. Listen, we got to get this word out. It's time for us to celebrate. We should be running the victory lap right now. We got to get this to everywhere ASAP. We done walk through the whole entire body. We done knocked out kidney disease, diabetes. Listen, this is the big one. This is the big one. We done took down heart disease. This is the big time right here. And the craziest part of this is where we found the cause and the cure of heart disease. The craziest part of this whole thing is where we found the cause and the cure. You got to go to Amazon now. Go to Amazon now. I can't tell you. It's about 15 books already that's no longer in print. You got to get these books before they're gone. You got to get these books before they vanish.
Yes. Doing something, reassuring something.
Radio. Baby girl, it's on.
Doing something, reassuring something.
I mean, is it just me? Is it just me? Are we watching the toughest? I couldn't believe when I seen Conway, Griselda, when I seen Conway put the skirt on. Kevin Hart different. He said he wasn't going with, listen, Kevin Hart different. But Conway, that was different for me. That hit different for me. I can't hold you. That hit different for me. When I seen Russell Westbrook, bro, that was different. Russell Westbrook is like this thing done went to the, I mean, we talking about the shooters and the gangbangers is putting on, like, this thing different now. This is different. They done put so much pressure on Denzel. They say, listen, Denzel, you done been around for a long time, buddy. Denzel, you done been around for a long time, buddy. So this is what we're gonna do for you. Denzel, because you got us in a bad position, because the box office at this point, the box office demands. So here's what we're gonna do. We ain't gonna put
Mr. Elizondo, does any branch of the United States government or defense contractors possess technology?
Sir, there's documentation that I believe was submitted for the record that was approved for release by the U.S. Pentagon, by the Department of Defense Office of Pre-Publication Security Review, and it states one of the reasons why my predecessor program, OSAP, was trying to collect material of unknown origin.
Was it successfully collected?
It was not. What happened is that there was an aerospace contract company that requested to divest itself of the material that was collected in the 1950s.
Right.
Unfortunately, that didn't actually occur.
So let's dive into that. That's the Bigelow Aerospace, correct? So
yes, sir.
There was a journalist, Christopher Sharp, who said that there was a transfer between Lockheed Martin, Bigelow Aerospace, and the CIA allegedly blocked this. Can you describe that?
What I can say is that it was blocked. Why it was blocked, I can only surmise. I was part of some conversations later on with some of those contract personnel where they had told all of us that is accurate. What we required was a memo from the Secretary of the Air Force in order to make that complete, and that never occurred. And so when Secretary Mattis became Secretary of Defense, I decided it would be appropriate for me to try to receive a memo from him as SecDef, as Secretary of Defense, if we could not get a memo from the Secretary of the Air Force to transfer that material.
So if that material exists today, who's in possession?
Sir, I wouldn't be able to have that conversation in an open hearing. We'd probably have to have that.
Okay, my question to you then is, if we were in a secure setting, if we were in a SCIF, would you be able to provide or get access to something, whether it's a visuals or material that we could put our hands on, or biologics that would convince me, that would show me that we have non-human origins?
Sir, that decision would not be mine. That would be to the gatekeeper still in the U.S. government.
And who would we, so if you were in our shoes, where would you go from here? How would you get that information? Where, a lot of times we just don't know who to ask because we don't know where to go next. So if you were in our shoes, where would you go?
Well, I prefer to answer that question in a closed session. However, we established Aero for that very purpose. And unfortunately, under its previous leadership, it failed. So one would hope that they would have the authorities necessary to do that. Let's hope that this new iteration of leadership will be successful.
In the discussions, it's simply about material, or is there discussion about it was previously testified that there was biologics that were collected. Are you aware of any of that?
I am, sir, aware of the reporting that biologics have been recovered. Again, my focus was more nuts and bolts, looking at the physical aspects of these phenomenon, how they interacted around military equities and nuclear equities. So I'm certainly not a medical expert. I would not be able to probably provide you a whole lot of value in that simply because I don't have the expertise.
But was anything described as that we have possession of bodies?
Yes, yes.
We have is it multiple types of creatures, or?
Sir, I couldn't answer that. I can tell you anecdotally that it was discussed quite a bit when I was at the Pentagon. The problem is the supposed collection of these biological samples occurred before my time, in fact, before I was even born.
And was this part of the Lockheed Martin discussion, or was this the biologics is a completely separate?
Separate yet related.
Okay. Has anyone made contact?
Sir, I'm sorry, could you specify?
Has there been any, to your knowledge, any communication with a non-human life form?
So the term communication is a bit of a trick word because there's verbal communication like we're having now. The problem is you also have nonverbal communication. And so I would say definitively yes, but from a nonverbal
The moment we open up a conversation about God and God's children, you know there's another simultaneous conversation we open up at the same time. We're talking about the devil and the devil's children. Yeah. So if there's any bodies, those are not, I repeat, are not from outer space. What they're trying to do is work the demons in. They're trying to work the demons in. I'm telling you, this is just the part of the game we are at. This is just that part of the game. There's a part of the game where somebody, listen, There's a part of the game where somebody's supposed to pop out. Somebody's supposed to pull up, right? God's people supposed to pull up, or the devil's people supposed to pull up. And we at the stage in the game where somebody's getting ready to pull up and pop out. That's just all this is. You got to know what you're seeing before it comes so you know what to do, how to do, boo, boo, boo. Right? Remember, time, space, light, sound. So what are they doing right now with these broadcasts? The broadcast is creating in your mind. They're laying the framework brick by brick. They're creating in your mind right now. Right now, they're creating in your mind, literally, as we watch that, right? And you hear biologics. Your mind goes, oh, okay, biologics. And then he's like, creatures, right? These are all words that are creative. They're all creative, and everybody's authoritative. So you automatically move past all of the blocks in your mind of, is this true or not? Or at least most people will. Most people immediately go to, oh, wow, this is a real thing. We got the generals from the military. We got the government. We're inside the government conversation. Like, we're privy, right? We're privy to the convo. And everybody's thinking that we're privy to the convo in a way that they don't know that we're watching. Like, we are a fly on the wall. No, we're not a fly on the wall. We're being broadcast to. Right? So you're watching when they say creatures. In your mind, each individual one of us, a different thing popped up in our mind. We all had a different idea of what that looked like. Right? All of us, we had a different idea, whether it's a gray, a dragon, a reptilian from Dr. York books, a reptilian from David Icke books. Oh, we've been hit from a lot of different directions with this, right? We've been hit with a lot of different directions from this, right? So they're just prepping you, getting you ready so you can create this. You can put your energy, right? Because group consensus is what creates our reality. Once we get enough group consensus, it's going to manifest. But just because we see something doesn't mean that what we see is what they say it is. So trust me, you see something. That's not from another planet. Okay.